was no game for Swindon Town men's side, they said. It was going to be a quiet show. Might not even be able to do one, they thought. But no, it's Friday night, it's 9 o'clock, and it's time for Fools Rush In. We've got games, we've got chat, and we've got guests all lined up for you this evening. But before all that, let's roll the titles.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
And let's start by saying hello to the first of tonight's panelists. Good evening, Rich. How are you, pal?
Evening, mate. How are we?
Very well. We were saying off camera, unusual to see you on a Friday.
Haha, I thought I'd make a special appearance on a Friday. Yeah, it's good to be on. Got to be for the birthday Eve boy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and effort in celebrating my birthday early. Thank you.
No worries.
Someone who it's not a surprise to see on a Friday night. Hello, Joe.
As we all know, all the best people are born in January.
That is why it's the month of the goat, isn't it, mate?
Exactly. So not long till mine, and obviously yours tomorrow, so it's all good.
Indeed. We will be another year older and almost certainly another year wiser, won't we?
Well, another year bolder, maybe.
Well, yeah, it's there's less being spiked up day by day at these days.
More down here these days than
yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Next up, let's say hello and good evening to Woody. How are you, pal?
Good evening, Fyfie and lads. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Fyfie. You're okay?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Although I have just popped you a message. I don't know if you've seen it. From one of our guests.
That means one of our regulars hasn't read his message then.
Yes, exactly. And I can't find a way to send it. So, but yeah, I'll try and do that if you want whilst you're carrying on with introductions.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll sort the link. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
Okay. Ever the professional podcast, this, isn't it? We're delighted tonight to be joined. We're going to be joined by two members of Swindon Town Women's side. But first, let's say hello and good evening to Alice Bowden. How are you? Welcome back to Fools Rush In.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be back.
And we are delighted to welcome you back. It's still just early enough in the year to say, did you have a nice Christmas and New Year?
Oh, it seems like so long ago, but I had a lovely one. Hope you guys did too.
We did. Thank you very much. I love watching Woody's camera just go on and off as he tries to sort this himself. It's quality. While he does that, I think we'll jump straight into it. While we've got you here, and let's talk Swindon Town women. We are at the beginning of 2023, but we can't sort of go on without saying what a year 2022 was for women's football in general, especially in this country, and sort of how you as we start a new year, how you look back on. Obviously, there was the Lionesses and stuff, but you yourself and Swindon Town women as well. How you look back on 2022?
I think, to be fair, for women's football in general, it was amazing. But I think even for Swindon Town women's, it was an amazing first start of the season. Obviously, having a new manager in. A few of the girls leaving, obviously re-leaving and things like that. It was a little bit unsteady, but I think we've just shown how resilient we are. We've come out fighting, and the results have showed that. So it's been good, and it's been great to be a part of that club and just falling in love with football again.
You used the word resilient there, and following the social media for Swindon Town women, I've noticed that saying coming up a lot. The three words: resilient, competitive, together. Is that sort of the three words you think best describe the team as a whole?
Do you know what? I didn't even realise that. But now you said it, since coming back from Christmas, I think it's really shown us how resilient, not even resilient we are, just how close as a bond we've got. I missed all the girls over Christmas, and sometimes, absence make the heart grow fonder. And seeing everyone come back together on Tuesday and everyone talking to each other, everyone having a good time, and coming together at training. It just shows us how far we've really come as a team from, especially last year. I think there was a few different, not like holes, but just like a few different gaps in the team and stuff like that with people. But I think this year we've all come together and we are really strong, and that's what's sort of getting us through those 90 minutes. Like the previous season, I think sometimes you sort of crumbled after like 50, 60 minutes, but this season we're all working for each other and we've all got each other's backs, and I think that's showing when we're playing 90 plus minutes every week.
Well, speaking of people having your back, Woody certainly has, and Briony has as well, as she's now managed to join us.
There she
Evening,
is.
Briony, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Was waiting for Ned to send me the link, but he didn't, so that's great.
I texted him and everything a short while before we started and said, am I okay to leave you to send Briony the link? And clearly hasn't seen it. I was just asking, we are still early enough in the year. Did you have a nice Christmas and a good New Year?
Yeah, it's been really good, thank you. I've had exams all week, so I've kind of forgotten about Christmas. That's old news now, but finished those and it's all good. And
how do you think they went, gut feel?
I think the one today went really well. The others, good. yeah.
We started off with the question about what year 2022 was for women's football. How do you look back on last year?
It was really forward. Really like great attendances all across the UK. Yeah, everything's been really, really good for women's football, and it's great to see, really.
No, absolutely. Alice, the thing that came from a lot of it was we heard about the impact that what the Lionesses did was going to have on women's football. Now, we're sort of 6 months on, so it's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, but do you think we're already starting to see that a little bit?
I think so, especially with the integration of Beth Mead winning Sports Personality of the Year. Obviously, I'm a celebrity. Do you know what I mean? I think seeing those women's footballers in the mainstream and people thinking like, oh yeah, I recognise them. Yeah, I've seen them on the telly, and now the World Cup happening in the summer, and obviously it's going to be all over the pubs, hopefully. So everyone having a drink in the summer can hopefully see it. So I'm hoping that will drive women's football on to have more viewers. But I think us winning, and the men's team obviously in December not winning so much, I think the women have just got to pull it through for everyone, haven't they? Like we always do. So here's hoping.
Well, I mean, I've always said you can't argue with fact, and the fact was that the Lionesses did, and the men's team, let's face it, got nowhere near. Woody, let me ask you the same sort of question. Do you think, looking from sort of the younger levels and moving up, we'll see more participation in football with what we saw last year in terms of girls playing and then moving up into older teens and adults?
Yeah, I think younger girls definitely. I think that there's still going to be a struggle with that kind of 15 to 18 bracket. But you get that struggle with boys as well. And if you put it in the grand ratio of kind of how many boys footballers there are compared to girls footballers, it's not really going to be that far off in terms of dropping in percentage wise. And you know, Alice and Brian make good points there in terms of the impact that the World Cup had, and it was almost like Euros had, but it's almost like COVID kind of did women's football a favour in some ways, because as it delayed the Euros, we've got the buzz of the Euros is going to calm down, and then all of a sudden the World Cup's going to be here almost straight away. So I think that's going to have an impact. I mean, just looking around in terms of because obviously in different circumstances of me not being involved necessarily with the game now, I do go to see my niece play quite a bit when I can, and I just go there training on nights where most of the girls' teams are training, and most of them have got squads of 14, 15, and I'm sure Bowden and Briony will agree that in Wiltshire it's always been really low. It's never been kind of the same numbers in participation as like the Oxfordshire leagues and the Bristol leagues and things like that. So I think Wiltshire's almost a really good measure as to how much it's improving. And I even look at our very own, with the Swindon girls, the under-18s. It's they're in a very good league that's managed to keep 11 teams going this year, and most teams aren't having to drop to 9-a-side or anything like that this season. I'm going out to watch them tomorrow to catch up with some of them as well, and it's just you kind of, it's good to see that even with the not having a game for potentially a month because of all the weather and stuff like that, but teams must be doing something right to keep girls engaged. And I think, like Bowden said already, that building the atmosphere is a big thing in women, not just in women's or girls football, but I think it's more of an emphasis in women's and girls football, that building that kind of team emphasis is massive, and making sure that there is a togetherness. I felt it this season when I was with the ladies. You can definitely sense that, and that's not disrespect to those who were there and aren't there this year, but you can just sense there is a little bit more kind of belief. Is that spurred on by the Euro success? Maybe, possibly. Are women becoming more idolised now for footballers? Of course they are. You look at Jill Scott. We all saw her in the jungle, as Bowd said, that we just saw how awesome she is as a person. I absolutely love Jill Scott. I think she's just brilliant. But and then we see like Beth Mead beating off, awards that Lewis Hamilton used to walk and things like, and used to things like that. So it's definitely getting there. And I don't think it's at a tokenism level. I generally think it's people are actually enjoying watching the women's game, women's side of the game now. And it will continue to increase. It might have a dip at some stage, but everything always does. But yeah, it's promising. It's looking good.
And Joe, from a different perspective, let me ask you the similar question, because like myself, you went to see kind of your first women's games during 2022, and you've been on a few times and gave glowing recommendations for people to go and watch. Do you see for fans like yourself who have just sort of started going, see it to carry on, and you'll be carrying on to go and watch in 2023?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be there as often as things allow, work or whatever. And yeah, I've said before, I was oblivious to the sort of standards of women's football. And when I went to watch the girls last year for the first time, and I was amazed how good the standard was. And obviously, so that obviously through the levels, it's getting better and better. But yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed every time we've been. Luckily, there's been plenty of goals in the games I've been to, so that's always been good fun. But yeah, I mean, it's great, and because it's given. As a young lad growing up, you got your heroes, ain't you? Your David Beckhams, your Rio Ferdinands, whoever it be. And now this is given the young girls now somebody to look up to, somebody to, I want to be Jill Scott, or I want to be a Beth Mead, or whatever. So
Alice Bowden.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so that's only a good thing. I think it's great, and I think the obviously the massive push that the women's games had in the last year or so is really good. I mean, let's be fair, it's better than the men's game, isn't it?
Well, certainly more successful at the moment, isn't it? That's one thing for sure. Rich, before we carry on with the question, it'd be wrong not to ask you your opinion on that. Do you think after such a small bit of time, in the grand scheme of things, we're already seeing the impact in football, maybe even in football culture as a whole?
Yeah, I think, you used the word culture there, and I think, and as Joe literally just said there, I mean, young girls and maybe even boys as well, probably, I mean, one would hope as well, start to look up to players like Beth Mead and Jill Scott, and all those kind of, you got Fran Kirby in there as well, like absolute mint players, absolutely playing. But also, I tell you another thing as well is the coverage that Sky Sports have been given of the WSL as well. That's being done on a weekly basis now, and you've got maybe one or even two games possibly there as well. So it's good to see that that's being shared out across. Following on from the men's games, and I think that's been quite smart as well. I'm not entirely sure how many viewers those Premier League women games are getting, but I think they're getting quite a lot. And the fact that stadiums are being filled out now for these teams, like for example Newcastle as well, they filled their stadium twice over, and they're in the same division, different obviously part of the country, as Swindon are in. So for me now, to see the growth in such a small amount of time is absolutely fantastic to see. And to see those scenes at St James's Park, I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see that. And that's the hope I have. I mean, obviously Swindon's a small, in the grand scheme of things, is a small club. But also
don't tell half our fan base that.
But what I mean is though, the dream, and I'm sure it is for the girls as well, to see that county ground absolutely packed out for like a really big game. I mean, it may take some time, but when that time does come, I mean, it's going to change the whole feel of our town. And our fan base, and you know, it's going to be nothing but good things. But in the whole grand scheme of things, to see the whole women's football culture itself just growing and growing and growing, and it is going to keep on growing. I mean, they haven't even scratched the surface yet, and that's probably the good thing. That's probably the best thing that can happen right now, is just to see that keep growing, and it is fantastic to see. Absolutely brilliant. And like Alice said as well, to see these girls that were playing in the summer being on TV, being interviewed by some of the best, greatest hosts, like Jonathan Ross, Graham Norton, etc., and then being in the jungle as well, and BBC personality. So you know, it's only getting better, and it's only going to grow stronger as well.
Well, you've neatly segued me into my next question for Alice. First, if I can, you used the word hope, Rich. So Alice, let me ask you, what are you looking forward to in this coming year? What are you hoping for yourself and for the team?
Just hoping we can build on the momentum that we've had in the previous games coming up to Christmas. Obviously, we've had a bit of a bad run of weather and things like that, but hoping that on Sunday we can just kickstart the year and just get another win in and just continue that. We've got a new player joining us on Sunday for our game, so it's getting her into the team and, you know, seeing what she can offer us, which is going to be very valuable. So here's hoping that the rest of 2023 is going to be a good season.
She can play in all weathers as well, can't she, Belts?
Let's hope so.
Again, same question for you, Brian. What are you hoping for this coming year?
I just think for it to continue, really, especially into the new season, because I feel like with every season that we have like lots of changes and stuff, and it'll just be nice for us to be able to continue what we have now into the new season, whether that be managers, players, just continue the great run that we've had this past few months. Just because with COVID and everything, like 2 seasons ago, we only had like 2 months playing football, and then to try and get back into that, it took quite a while for us to like get into the swing of playing at that level again. And I feel like it's just kind of clicked in the past few months, so it'd be nice for us to just continue that.
It's an interesting use there, the word continue, actually, because we've seen that there were attendances and, you know, bigger attendances, etc., when you got to play at Foundation Park, and then you got a couple of games at the county ground back end of last year as well. I presume it seems fairly obvious for me to say that that's something you'd both like to carry on, more games at Foundation Park and obviously the county ground.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's not the fact that people don't want to come watch us. It's just the commute there, getting there on a Sunday. You don't really want to be traveling 45 minutes, if depending on where you live in Swindon, just to go and watch a game. Like if it was just 5 minutes down the road in the main centre of Swindon, definitely you're going to be watching that. So it's not a choice that they don't want to come. So hopefully in the coming months we do get a few more games there, and we do bring attendances up like we have.
Woody, that's actually something you've said to us in the past as well, isn't it? That the more the games can be played in the centre of town, the more chances there'll be more regular and bigger attendances as opposed to travelling out of town.
Yeah, well, it almost feels kind of trying to think of the right word now, kind of hypocritical to be telling people to go watch their local team and they don't play locally. It's, and it's always been, about to remember, and Brian remember the days of even playing out at Shrivenham. It's kind of, even that really, that's still not Swindon. It's still not, and it's, and I get it. The difficulties we've got is just around town. There isn't the facilities, until Foundation Park was built. They couldn't really go to Swindon Supermarine because Supermarine themselves had a women's team. Highworth, that was kind of, well, Highworth in itself is a bit of a circus in terms of the clubs they've had, the amount of teams they've had at Highworth. But it's so I think it will increase, and as I've said, the key challenge is always going to be the attitude. And I agree with Steve on that one. It is about changing those kind of attitudes more than anything. That, like, there will be games where the next game might not have as many. In my opinion, even the Plymouth game a couple of months ago now, I don't even know what month we're in. But even the Plymouth game, to be fair to me, even I looked at that and I was like, do you know what? That's not as high as I thought it was going to be. It was still very impressive, but they will have dips like that because some people they make plans on a Sunday afternoon, especially if they've watched football on a Saturday as well. So, but I just hope the club, the club in general, don't go, the attendances might dip a little bit compared to what we're used to, but we just got to keep that attitude going. I know, obviously I'm not there anymore, but I know that there was plans talking about what's going to happen next season, are very promising. So as long as that carries on, and it's attractive to potential players as well. It's although I quite like Fairford, it's a traditional, it is a very traditional ground. Although now going there, just
like the food, Woody. What are you on about?
Yeah. It does, doesn't it?
Try working in Fairford, Alice. But yeah, now I work there. Unfortunately, when I go watch a women play, it's like just going to work again. But yeah, I just think having, it's so much easier having that local. You get all the local interest from the girls, and hopefully it will enable more connection with the foundation, and the foundation will be able to help out more with like promoting mascots and doing all of this kind of stuff that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do at Fairford. But yeah, it's exciting times, as Steve, as you just flashed up there, Steve, that it is a really exciting time to be at the club, or not be at the club in my case, or to be at the club. But yeah, and it will continue to grow, and we've seen it already. Bowser's already mentioned about the signing of Hannah Hale, I think it is. And I know that there's other clubs. There's still players contacting me now, going like, "What is Swindon Town doing?" etc. And so it's generating a massive interest. And the more girls that get interested, the more parents that are going. The more parents that are going, the more brothers, sisters, all of that kind of stuff are going. I was interested to ask about Joe, actually, because obviously, Joe, you go with your daughter, Georgia, who I don't believe has never really played as such, as she. I'm not too sure. How did she feel watching that, being kind of a teenage girl going to watch?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously she's grown up with the men's game, coming to men's game with me, and I think she just liked the being so close to the action more than anything. You're right in amongst it. You're right next to the, you can hear people swearing at each other and referees giving wrong decisions and giving the referee a bit of stick, and that's what we love, isn't it? And it's the one I remember was the Bournemouth game. The referee in that game was horrendous, and some of the stuff we were shouting and some of the stuff we were giving the referee was good fun. And you don't get that in a big stadium in a big match. You don't hear all that, the extra stuff. So
you also don't get Kitman sent off either.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
But no, yeah, I mean, she's bugging me all the time now to go back and watch. So it's men's on the Saturday and women's on the Sunday. So it's all good.
Alex, you mentioned the game this weekend. Just before we touch on that, we've when we've been discussing the men's team, particularly over recent weeks, a certain phrase has been used by those who are trying to be negative, and that's about false positions. I did happen to, in advance of this, load up the league table for the women's team, and I briefly sent it to Woody just to check I was looking at the right thing, and Woody said, no, that is right. Swindon have played considerably less games than everybody else. So if ever there was a team in a false position, winning 4 and losing 2 of 6 when there's teams that have played sort of 9 and 11 in the league, Swindon is certainly that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we are in a false position, but hopefully it's going to be a position that keeps us instead with seeing how well or not well everyone's done. So obviously we want to win every game, but just trying to win every game and see where everyone is going to be in good stead for us, I think.
Something else that we've discussed is whether, I mean, we as fans, we argue about whether it's better to have the points or to have the games in hand. From your perspective, when you look at that table, are you quite happy having games in hand, or would you rather have played them and see where you are literally level for level?
I think as a player and a captain, the sort of run that we've been on and where we've been so consistent and just the flow of games we had, I was a bit upset that we had a few games cancelled because the momentum, let's hope it hasn't stopped, but we had a few games cancelled, then it was Christmas. So we've sort of had that stale sort of make. So I'm not looking forward to the first 10, 15 minutes on Sunday because I just think it's the first game back and we're going to be a bit unsteady. But we're going to get through it and it's just going to be one of them things. But I would have rather just played it. But now, looking back, I do think if we bust the next couple of training sessions and Sunday's game, I think we're more than likely to get it.
If you don't mind, excuse me for just a second, Sean's commented that he hardly got a chance to read the table. So I'm just going to block us all out for a second so he's got a chance to look at that properly. But unfortunately, it goes right in the middle of you two as opposed to us.
Yeah. See our ugly mugs. Bright, Alice, what's that up? Obviously, you've played a lot of the teams in there now. Is there any? Do you look at that and go, "There's definitely 3 points there," or are you not being that complacent yet?
I don't think you can be complacent because I think in this league, once you do get complacent, then it sort of bites you on the ass. So I think no matter what team you think you're going to beat a team, no matter what, I think you've got to sort of have the attitude that it's going to be a tough game and give it everything, because I've been in games where we thought we were going to win and we really didn't win.
It was sort of like that Larkle game last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, that Larkle game, we sort of went into it. I don't think we all thought we were going to win, but we thought it'd be a little bit easier than it was, and they gave us a really good test. The same like that Wiltshire Cup game a few weeks ago. Obviously, we did have a mixture of different squads, but sometimes you might go into a game thinking, even though you've got a mixture of squads, that you're going to do half all right, but they came out the better team.
And following on from Woody's initial question, Brian, do you agree with what Alice was saying there as well about complacency?
Yeah, definitely. I think every team that you see in that league, if we are on our A game, we will get a result out of that. But it's what we need to be in that mindset. We can't think that we're going to go into it completely the better team. We need to think that we need to be on our game to be the better team, not just turn up and think that we are. So yeah, I think we can't be complacent, but we need to be mindset that we can win.
Okay, Alex, back to you then. And it's you kind of already mentioned it's the return of football this weekend for the women's team. The development team have got a game as well at Down Ampney against Plymouth on Sunday, but first team are at Southampton in the second round of the plate. Like I said, you're kind of not looking forward to that 15 minutes or so, but it'd be good to get back out there, won't it?
Oh, I'm so excited to get back out there with all the girls, and kind of put into play what we've been working on the last couple of weeks. We've been working hard on a few different things, which would be really nice, and just to get out there and enjoy playing again. And I think last time we played them, they did beat us 4-0, but looking back at the game, I just don't really feel like they deserved it. Felt like it was a big sting after that game. I felt quite upset, but having watched it back the last week or so, there's been so many good points. So just hoping that on Sunday we can rectify that.
And the winners, if I read up on it correctly, get the chance to play Billericay in the quarterfinals. So as someone who was majorly annoyed by how the men's team sacrificed all of the cup competitions this year, I really, really hope that you were able to get the result and go on a bit of a cup run. Yeah,
everyone loves a cup run, so fingers crossed.
Again, same question for you, Briony. When you look at the plate game, is it one that you think it's going to be a tough game, obviously, but winnable and a chance to progress?
Yeah, I definitely think so. The last plate game that we had, that was Sousie, right? Just double checking, Alice. Sousie?
Hey, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast.
I normally throw someone under the bus for that sort of question.
Yeah, I think it was Sousie. And
let's go with that. Whoever we had.
Yeah.
They were crap. Whoever they were.
And yeah, it was a really good game, I think. We literally clinched it in the last minute of the game.
I think you're right, that was such a good game.
Yeah, it was, we literally won in the literal last minute of the game, 10 minutes added time at the end. Yeah. So that was a really good game, and it just shows. Oh, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
So yeah, and I think cup games are always like that. It's always fun to go into the cup. So yeah, very excited for this weekend.
And then I suppose the question, kind of linking the last two in together, and Briony, I'll start with you this time, if I can, is ultimately what represents, if we don't look at 2023 as a year, but we look at the current season, what, from where it started to where we are now, what would now constitute a good season, do you think?
I think we had this conversation a few weeks before Christmas as like a team and spoke about what our goals are. And I think for us, top 4, top 5, potentially, dependent on, obviously we've got quite a few games still to play, so we can't really definitely say an exact number, but we did say top 4, top 5, get as far as we can in the cup. Yeah, I think that would be really good for us. And like I said, just continue what we have this year into next season will be great.
So top half in the league, maybe a cup, carry on the cup run, and just build on what has already been and the momentum that the team have got behind them. Then.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Do you agree with that, Alice, or are you looking even bigger? Are you looking like top 2?
No, I can't fault that. But if you look at the ones that are at the top of the table, we have beaten them. So I do think it is doable. I'm quite ambitious. I do think it is very doable.
I like that.
I just want the girls to continue working well together, having fun, and equally just winning games. Try not to put too much pressure on ourselves, but to equally put pressure on ourselves, if you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But I just want to continue all the hard work that we've done. Like, we've all learned so much this year, and we've all worked together. And I just want to see that progress. And I think Roni is good as the person next to us. So just keeping each other going and keeping each other wanting to do more and learn more, because that's how we're going to get better, is not just by us but by our teammates as well. So it's just continuing that. Oh my god, I'm not inspirational.
we'll
captain there,
manager in the making.
Alice.
Woody, you may have mentioned 1 or 100 times that you're not involved anymore.
However, you're joking. You're not.
No, I'm not, mate. I'm not. I know. It seems like I never left.
It stands to reason, though, that you know most, if not all of them, all of the team well enough to know what you believe they're capable of. How far can this current group go, do you think?
They might get relegated next season potentially. No, I mean, I've always, I generally think even last season the first team especially underachieved. Really, I think that they are a good bunch, and I think the unfortunate thing is that signings will happen, players will be signed, players will be moved on. And we talked about the false position earlier. It's difficult because when you look at you guys haven't played Moneyfield yet. You haven't played Cardiff yet from memory. So there's a few, and I think you haven't played St Austell yet, have you? Either. I know St Austell at the other end of the table, but so in some ways it is a false position because you've kind of played some teams twice before you've played other teams once, type thing, and it's But yeah, I have, I've said for the last couple of seasons now that the foundations are there to start setting up the youths. They're going to have to push things through. But that group of players, they found, there's a few players that maybe weren't in form last season that are definitely in form this season. We've got to look at, in the nicest respect, obviously, Bowden, you were returning from, I guess, maternity leave, if we use a correct term, last term, and now you're, running fit, and even like the likes of Bry coming back from injuries and all that kind of stuff. So it's going in the right direction. The girls, I'm confident. I think a top 4 finish is realistic. But as Bowden said, there's no team in this league that can be really taken for granted, because there will be. I think I actually tipped when I looked at that I thought Cardiff and Southsea were going to be the top 2 this season, because I knew how strong Southsea were last season, even though they come down. I think they finished kind of the last relegation space of the team of the league above, and they were quite strong. And then obviously it was a very close game between us and them at the beginning of the season. And then obviously we beat them in the last round of the Cup. So it really goes up and down. But, for me, girls, as long as you fucking beat Moneyfield, that's all I really care about, to be honest. I don't care what else happens after that. But yeah, positive. What's going to happen? Positive goal difference, top half finish. That's a guarantee, I think, for this bunch this season. And it's in their hands, in your guys' hands, as to how high you want to go. I think it is a big mental thing. I think we've seen the ability. The Bournemouth win at Foundation Park was huge. I don't think only people that, and this is in the greatest respect, only people that watch the game, watch regularly and know about how much funding goes into Bournemouth and all this kind of stuff, know how big a win that actually was. So it's plus I don't like Bournemouth either, so it was quite. I was quite happy with that, and Steve got sent off. But yeah, no, this group, if I got to reiterate that they can't be disappointed if they don't finish in that top 4, because I genuinely think that looking at the teams at the beginning of the season, the aim would have been to stay in the division this season to consolidate, and then really push on next season. Hopefully there won't be any change in management and things like that, and it will just stay as it is, a nice bit of consistency going into next season. But yeah, I have full faith in Bowden, Bry, and the rest of the girls. I think they'll smash it the rest of the season.
You've mentioned, and he's popped up in the chat and everything else, Woody. Steve had more mention than anybody else. Is there anything else you'd like to say to him or about him before we can draw a line in the sand at all? No?
Me? Is that
yes.
me? Or,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're the only one nicknamed Woody in this 6 that I'm aware of.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say Woody. Yeah, I mean, obviously I saw the news. Steve's a good friend of mine and Rich's, and Steve came over with me from Abingdon, so I think. Yeah, you won't ever. When he gets married, that's coming up in his best man speech. I don't care who his best man is; it's coming up. I think. I just wanted to say as well, like I'm sure the girls will vouch for it, that it's when you go into coaching, it's a different story. You kind of have a bit of a selfish agenda as well, that you're going to be a good football coach. But volunteers like Steve, there's many others like him as well, but volunteers like Steve who are, dare I say, the donkeys, carrying the kit, sorting out the washing of the kit, putting the kits out, making sure the girls have got. He was exactly the same with me at Abingdon, and I know that he was thinking for a long
Workhorse
time.
is the term you're looking
Yeah,
for.
workhorse. Sorry, yeah. Donkey for Steve, workhorse for everybody else. But I'm sure Bowds and Bry will agree that people like Steve who just give up their time to just make sure that everybody's catered for in some ways. Well done, Steve. I'm sure he'll be back in the game at some point, maybe with me on my next move. But it's but no, genuinely, and I'd like
me
to
to say
thank him
he's
as well.
crying now, Woody.
Oh, good. I'd like to thank him because he did help me a lot at Abingdon as well. And then obviously he came over with me to Swindon and then got into the first team, which I didn't manage to do, which was a bit shit. But yeah, so well done, Steve.
On a lighter note, Brian, we've actually had a comment in specifically for you. And it's from Mike, who said, "Don't fools rush in sponsor. STWFC's Woody left, Beth left, and Bry. Please don't follow suits and stay the season."
I'll definitely be staying the season, don't worry.
Well,
Well, mention Steph Bentner.
no, he didn't. He didn't mention Steph. No. We are seemingly becoming something of a curse, and it's not strictly on the women's team either, because we sponsored Kean Harries and he got injured very quickly. So we're really looking forward to letting everyone know who we've sponsored next, because we're going to be the most hated podcast in English football, I think, potentially. Actually, Woody, you're probably in a good position to answer Christian's question. He sent it twice to prove it was a genuine question. So initially put, if Swindon Town women are decent, why do their players leave for unknown teams? And then followed up by saying, genuine question, I know they don't have the same status as men's, but why would someone go from a big club like Swindon to somewhere like Mangotsfield? Okay.
I mean, they didn't go to Mangotsfield because Mangotsfield in the women's game isn't particularly great either. But
I'll leave that
I
one
think,
with you.
I think one thing that we've got to bear in mind in that, and you even have to look at the teams that are in Swindon's league. Yes, you've got Bournemouth, you've got Southampton. I know it's not these other Southampton, but and things like that. But it's the women's tiers are slightly different in terms of where their support comes from. Obviously, you look at Beth going to Warminster. Warminster is only one level below. For Beth, it's a footballing decision. She wants to play football every week. So it's kind of, well, I assume it's that. But yeah, so it's I'm gonna say I assume. I actually know, and then Bow's nodded her head, so I'm gonna say yes. But I think it's actually quite a good it is a genuine good question, because you think that Swindon has that big appeal, but naturally with that big appeal comes more players, and it's not like the men's game where a typical step down will be going to, in the men's game it will be going to someone like Oldham, but that's just the way the men's game is set out at the moment. There's no reason why Warminster could push up, Wharton Bassett could push up, teams like that around. You look at Wharton Bassett are only one tier below Swindon Town, so it's just not I guess not laid out in the same way, because there's just less teams.
I'd like to hop on actually with that, Woody, and I think I met the first few of the men's team players a few weeks ago, and they're a bit shocked. They thought that football was our only main career. So I think to maybe people that aren't like involved in women's football per se, they probably think that this could be one of our only sources of any income, which is no source of any income in this league. But just putting that out there. But
that's fine, you carry on.
But the thing is with us is, if we wanted to leave to go to a different team, which I've done before, we do our full-time job. So to leave to go to, say, like somewhere like Swindon, and you went to this league in the same league as Swindon, you're having to travel 2-3 hours away sometimes. In Wiltshire, we are the biggest women's football club. So if you don't have the time commitment of being able to go to Oxfordshire or outside that sort of area, there's not that many clubs for you to be a part of. So that's why keeping Swindon and keeping the momentum going for fans and things like that is going to be beneficial for us to attract players and to attract more sponsors to help us with different things. But it is a lot different than the men's game. So I think hopefully that person, sorry, I forgot your name, can come and watch and maybe learn a little bit of women's football, because I think the difference between men and women's football is totally different. So they might enjoy the change.
No, I think everything you've said there is perfectly fair. I don't think particularly anyone watching this or on the show would have any issues or disagree at all with what you've said there. I'm conscious of keeping you too late into your Friday evenings. You've got much better things to do than sitting chatting to us. But so, Brian, if I could just ask you one thing. Just as you were logging in and coming on, I was talking to Alice about 3 words that have started to appear on the women's team's social media, and it just says resilient, competitive, together. And I just wondered how you feel those 3 words, how they resonate with you, and do you think they're the perfect 3 for what Swindon Town women are and will continue to be?
Yeah, I do. I do think so. Resilience, due to the fact that until this year we have been our own club, and we've gone through that to get as our own together as a team, and we've been resilient in that kind of face until this year. We have now been obviously been taken on by the men's club. We're all very competitive. Football's a very competitive game, and yeah, we're all together in this, and it is a very the feel at the club at the moment is just very lovely, because we are all in it together.
I like that. And one more question for both of you, Brian. I don't know if you'll remember, Ryan, but I think it was one of the earlier games, possibly an FA Cup game, where we had yourself and Beth on, and we asked you to, as best as you can, predict the score. And I'm sure it was Beth kind of just really chest out, was like, yeah, we're going to win something like 7-0, 8-0, and really went for it to get everyone high. So I'm going to ask you both to realistically and what your heart says, how's this weekend going to unfold? I'll start with you, Brian.
I'd say if we are on our game, I think it'll be close. But if we're on our game, I'm going to say 2-1.
Remind me, Reader. I was going to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So 2-1 wins.
Great minds.
Great minds. But I think I agree with Bri. Like, if we're on our game and we give it everything, I think we will pinch it, but I think it's going to be close, because I don't know why. There's like a little rivalry, I think, between Southampton and us. A lot of us have played against each other for quite a few seasons, so we know each other. And I think Smithy, their manager, he seems to think he knows our team quite well. So I think he's going to really try and drive the girls to really to win and to put everything on the line. So I think that's how we're going to have to attack the game, with just put everything on the line in the first 5 minutes and hopefully pinch it from them. Well, we will pinch it.
So, Woody, you were going to jump in and say something halfway through that.
I was agreeing with the Smithy comment. I think he's put in a 7-day approach for half the Swindon squad at some stage over the past
Why does no one do that
years.
for me?
They might have. We just might not have let them. I told you. I think Smithy. I know that Smithy had a good relationship with with James Lally as well, to be fair. But and I've known Smithy for years as well. So it will be a tight game. I think Alice was right earlier. The 4-0 wasn't really a 4-0 earlier in the season. They do have some handy players, Southampton. They always seem to recruit quite well, probably because they put in 1,000 approaches a season. But yeah, I think I agree. I actually agree with those two. I think it'll be I think it could be a close 2-1. Bowds is going to score a header in the 95th minute or something.
It's like this.
Ladies, it's been a pleasure having you on again. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you again very soon. Good luck to you both for the rest of the season and the rest of the team, and no doubt there'll be plenty of FRI representation at various games between now and the end of the season. So good luck to you both and to the team. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you
Take
for
care.
having us.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday for tomorrow, Fyfie.
Thank you very much. And as 2 doors close, 3 Well, I say 3 more. One of them isn't there. So we lost Briony. So let's say hello and good evening to Uncle Ned.
Hello.
How
I'm
are
in
you,
the bedroom
pal?
today.
Are you really?
I'm in the bedroom
No.
where the magic
Ned, you're in the
happens.
doghouse, mate. You didn't send the link. You're in the doghouse, not the bedroom.
That is exactly right. But it's not only Ned that's ready to join us. He's been sat in the lobby the whole time, sort of coming and going. Evening, Wazza.
Oh,
You're muted, Wazza.
What you were going to say? It was the Wi-Fi.
No, not this
That
time.
was a very good listen. That was between that and watching United. Very good. Yeah. How are we all?
Very, very well. And you're right. I always enjoy when we get members from STWFC on. It's always a great listen to how they are and how they think things are going, and always
Just need
refreshing.
them to give Woody more shit. Really, that was
Yeah.
brilliant.
We need more direct abuse aimed at Woody.
Yeah,
I think, and then it would be perfect. Also sat waiting to join us. Evening, Nick.
Yeah, hi, Fyfie.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I see I'm in quite a good club as well, being the January birthday club. So
yes,
good to be in that with you boys.
Welcome to the Goat Club, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
They're queuing up to join in for the second half of the show. Good evening, Kieran.
All right, guys. All right, Woody, you prick.
Here we go.
I got told we're allowed to abuse Woody now, or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not
Are those your actual glasses, Kieran?
Yeah, they are. It turns out, fuck it, I'm absolutely blind. Put them because I was like, they're not gonna make much difference. Saw
Fucking
things
looks
yesterday,
it.
I could see road signs and everything. It's amazing. Woody, did you have a haircut because a couple of women's team players were coming on?
That's literally what.
Good again.
And the guy was obviously wearing your glasses, mate, because he fucked it up.
At least I can last a full stag do, mate.
Are we getting quick? Are we getting quiplash again? Not anytime soon, that's for sure. Fyfie will not allow it again. We have 8, but what's better than 8 panelists? How about a 9th and a 10th? Let's say hello and good evening to Craig. How are you, pal?
Evening, guys. Craig is battered everywhere he goes.
Craig may have been on the wine today.
Yeah, I know, and everyone's going to be shocked, really. But no, the reason I'm late, as you guys know, I had to make dinner earlier. But the main reason it was late was because there was
You're on strike.
Yeah, I'm on strike. But there was a Mexican standoff between me and my wife, and it was getting to about 8 o'clock, and then she was like, "So you got to cook dinner or what?" And I'm like, "All right, okay, I will." So, but in the end, I caved.
What do they have? Chips?
No, enchiladas. But even then, I had to get her to come down and help me because, like I said, I don't drink any wine. So yeah, all's good. All's good.
Completing tonight's panel. Good evening, Ben.
Evening, all. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, I'm good.
Is this the first time we've been in a 4-4-2 formation?
Oh my word!
Yes, do up front. Yes, go for it.
We need a goalkeeper. Who could we call on?
How all managers should play.
Yeah, this is
Fuck the goalkeeper with this defence. Look, who needs that? We need a goalkeeper with this back.
You ain't getting past it, boys.
Can you stick us in a diamond, Fyfie?
They might get past Rich.
Wow.
There's not a huge amount of pace at the back, I've got to be honest.
No,
I roll very fast.
Ned, you're the left winger. You could be.
There's not a huge amount of pace in this at all.
I'm Shade, yeah.
I'm not sure why I left.
Hey, Nick, at least we've got legs in the middle of the park, haven't we, Nick?
Yeah, but they don't work very well, was it?
Nick's going to make Ross McLaren look like Linford Christie.
Yeah.
Experience in the midfield.
Me and Ben are obviously the Vincent Perricard and Sean Close of forward.
Thomas DeSevi.
Thomas DeSevi. I have you, mate.
Oh wow. Well, what amusement we can have just from all logging in, isn't it? Guys, let's do some STFC chat. And as per the ticker, has Scott Lindsay gone, and who should replace him is the question. Yesterday, there was in the know accounts, and journalists aplenty claiming that Lindsay had gone. Now, the rumours, there's been nothing official from the club, but if recent transfer activity, Lindsay would be gone a week before anyone knows. The suggestion seems to be it has happened. So before we look at who could replace him, let's just go round the team as it is. Are you disappointed it's happened now, or is now the right time? We'll start as you appear on my screen. So, Joe?
I'm not disappointed from Swindon Town's point of view. I'm probably disappointed for Scott Lindsay himself. It's just not worked as it is. You know, I think I'd speak for most of the boys here. I think we all wanted him to do well. Generally good connection to the club and everything. But it just hasn't really worked. And if he's left and found himself another good job, then fair play to him.
Okay, Woody, what was
that?
Pretty
much the same.
What was that noise?
Because I heard it as well.
Sorry, Woody, carry on.
No, that's fine. I'll try and keep it short. I'll echo what Joe said, really. I'm just disappointed for him more than anything. But if it is a case that he's got another job as a result, then I'm not so disappointed. But I always say with these coaching things that you're still sacking somebody at the end of the day if they haven't got another job. And being in HR myself, sacking's part of my job, so I don't really like doing it. But yeah, I wish him all the best, though. He didn't do a bad job.
Yeah, that's not exactly true, is it, Woody?
He didn't do a bad job. So I do wish him all the best.
Rich?
I mean, at the start of this, if we thought that we were going to potentially get compensation for Scott Lindsay, I think we all would have, I think we all would have laughed, to be quite honest with you, because he was sort of like it was a punt. It was a punt. And, thankfully for Clem and for the football club, it looks as if that he has got this other job at Crawley, and it looks as if we're going to get some compensation for him. Whether or not that's big or small, probably small rather than anything, but every little helps. And you know what? I think that's absolutely fantastic. So, is it the right time to go? Yeah, I think he's ran his course. I spoke to a couple of people outside of non-Swindon Town fans earlier in the season, and they both said that they reckon he's out of his depth. And I think you could probably say that. I think that's a bit safe to say now. I think he's gone to a lower club in the league, and hopefully he thrives there. Hopefully he does something there. So it is, I'm quite happy it's gone. I think fresh face is what we needed.
Okay, Ned.
If I'm honest, I think he probably shouldn't have been. I would have been happy for him to stay to the end of the season. I mean, not happy as such, but I think it's justified. But this is what we wanted before. Well, it was certainly what I wanted before. So it's probably as good a time as any. And it's not like the new manager coming in will be making all the transfer, sorting out which players should be transferred and whatnot. So I guess it doesn't make any difference whether it was before or after January. So yeah, it's good a time as any. But yeah, as you say, if he's got another, if he's walking straight into another job, then that's perfect all round, isn't it? Essentially.
What I will add into it for you, just to keep the conversation going over. Are we potentially about to see a be careful what you wish for at Swindon? Because now he's got, on the assumption that he's gone, it means someone else is coming in, and it might not necessarily be who the fans want.
Warren, we never know who's going to be. We we chuck names about and it just doesn't happen, does it? And we don't know who it could be. Can you hear me, or is it fucked?
Yeah, no, we can.
No, we can hear you fine, mate.
Yeah, it's such a difficult one because we picked up some really good results against some really good sides, and then the downfall is the consistency for Lindsay. We just didn't have that consistency against some of the lower teams that we didn't win games against. And yeah, it's a hard one because I really wanted him to do well. Like Joe said at the start, we all wanted him to do well, and I feel like he had the passion, he had the drive, but I just think he was a bit out of his depth. And I think it's the right time to do it. We've got a week before our next game, so you'd like to think there could be a new manager in the door by early part of next week, and then they've got a week to sort of implement, or a full working week to implement what they want to do.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, well, to me, it was no surprise that he left. And that seems to be the consensus. He left before he was pushed. You asked last time we were on, would he still be here? And I did say he wouldn't be here. So I'm not surprised. It's the same as everybody else has said. And I'd just like to answer some of the stuff from I've seen on Twitter saying we're all a bunch of hypocrites because everybody's saying, oh, what a nice guy he is, what a nice guy he is. And I don't think any of us, certainly on here, had a bad word to say about him personally.
No.
He's obviously a top guy. He had Swindon in his heart. He put everything into it. He wanted to do well. But sadly, it looked like he'd lost the dressing room. He wasn't getting the best out of the team. We've got a good bunch of players, but they were performing poorly. And that's got to be down to the coaching from Scott Lindsay and his coaching team. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. And reiterate what everybody else has said. Good luck to him. Wish him well. If he does go to Crawley, the only thing I dread is the last game of the season. We both need a win for different reasons. And you know what shit will happen. So we will see.
Kieran, would you have been happy for him to see it till the end of the season, or was the timing right? Kieran?
If we were going to get rid of him, now's the time. For me, it's beginning. Yeah. Hello.
You can hear me, mate.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. For me, it had to be. For me, it had to be sort of now, sort of before this weekend, beginning of next week, to sort of get him out and go. If he stayed sort of any longer into January, or beyond January, may as well kept until the end of the season. So I think now's the time for him to go. If he was to go, we're not in a terrible position, but I think now is the time for the club to sort of put out a statement of intent. Who this appointment is, depends on what we do this season. Now we could still get promoted quite easily, probably through the playoffs now, looking at it. But if we employ someone that's relatively unknown or known for developing young players, then we ain't fucking getting promoted this season. If we employ someone like Artell or Liam Manning or Grant McCann, we're going to end up with Phil Brown. Let's just face things. But I think if we employ someone that can get promoted out of League Two this year, even till the end of the season, then that's a statement of intent. They want to get promoted this year. If we employ someone that's known for developing young players, a similar sort of appointment to Scott Lindsay, then we're not doing anywhere this season. So it's a crucial time for the club, but I think we need to have someone before the Grimsby game, because if we're going to get transfers in, if they're going to want to have a say in it, because I think it's got to be clear that the complete say that Sandro's got, and if he's saying that he okays it for the head coach first, we cannot sign anyone until we appoint a head coach if this is the case, because otherwise he's taking full control and it's all going to be on his head. And with the way things are at the minute, I don't think he wants things on his head, because at the minute I think he's got enough, and this is a big moment in his career as well. And I think it's a big moment for Clem. This is probably his biggest moment in his chairman career. He's brought Austin back. He's been very clear that he's been the influence in behind that. If he doesn't follow it up, if he follows it up, employs fucking Luke Garrard or someone completely unknown that's not going to get us out of League Two, then he's obviously not got intentions for us to be promoted this year. But also another point, that's the second person that says a lot of Jeffrey Dahmer today, so I'm fucking shaving my hair off. Fuck this.
It's interesting you say about Garrard there, and we'll come on to Craig to ask your opinion on Lindsay in a second, but just as a point of reference, obviously we put some polls out just on some names that we'd seen thrown around. There was nothing behind it. The top two winners in their respective groups were Garrard from one and the Cowie brothers as another to take the position. And the vote's now finished from the winners' vote, and Garrard actually won with 56.5% of the vote that people would want him in. So that's just something to consider when we do talk about who might be next. But Craig, on Lindsay, I mean, you'd spoken quite openly in recent weeks about style of play, poor position, probably poor squad, etc. So you must be thinking, yeah, the time's about right.
Yeah, I think it is. It was getting incredibly toxic, wasn't it? And I thought it wasn't going to happen, because if it was going to happen, I thought it was going to happen Monday or Tuesday. But I think the club have done the right thing in doing it now. It's kind of like a fairy tale ending, isn't it? If he does go to Crawley, because he stays in work, and his dream is to manage. He's been open about that. He wants to manage. He feels he deserves a chance. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for him here. What was right, he was out of his depth in the end. I got incredibly concerned with his post-match press conferences, as I think most of us did. It just, some of the things he was saying, you just tell he was incredibly out of his depth, unfortunately. No one can deny he's a nice guy. He has suffered some abuse, and that's not justified. But to say that he's out of his depth or that he's a shit manager, that's opinions, and I don't think anyone should be put down for expressing that. But yeah, I think for me, he's he hasn't done what he said he would do. He said he'd bring in the attacking football, but he didn't. It's been dull, it's been boring, it's been predictable. Teams who come up against us, especially when we're at home, they know how to play against us because we can't break them down. And you'd think by now, as I said on Monday, he'd find a way of dealing with that, and obviously he hasn't. But if he goes to Crawley, best of luck to him. It's close to where he lives. It works out all right. And I was listening to Price of Football podcast earlier, and they were saying that if you sack a manager, you have to pay off the rest of their contract. And normally what happens is you pay them off until they find work. So if he's found a job straight away, then or even, we might get some compensation out of it. So it's a great deal all around. It's a good deal for us. It's a good deal for Lindsay. I mean, he's going to a basket case where it comes to Crawley. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not their last manager this season because of the way things are going. But that's not our problem, really. It is the right time now. And, but Sandro, who is the person who was mainly responsible for hiring Lindsay. Yes, Clem okayed it, but that was Sandro's main job, recruitment, not just the players, but the management, the coaching staff and things like that. He's got to get this one right. And I'm sorry, I agree with what Christian said. These players are not good enough. I know people will disagree with me on that one here. Yeah, a better manager could get more out of these players, but these players, for me, are top half at best. They're good enough for top half. Outside chance of playoffs, I'm afraid. The top three are breaking away, and anywhere between 4th and 12th, I'd say, have got a chance of the playoffs. And I don't think, even with this group of players, unless, like I said on Monday, unless Sandro pulls something out of the hat and brings in 4 or 5 good players that can push us over the edge to get into the playoffs, because I honestly think automatics are we got no chance of that now. He needs to pull that out of the hat, and then we've got a chance of going up via the playoffs.
Well, if Craig was pretty much okay with it being the right time, it must have been a one-man Mardi Gras in Ben's house last night.
It's we're all saying, is it good timing? For me personally, it's a few weeks late, but
It's happened at a time where we've got a couple of weeks off, so hopefully we can get someone in to at least coach for a few days and get his feet under the table a little bit before the first game. So we will see where we are. I've been Lindsay's biggest critic over the last 6 weeks. It's not been personal. He's a lovely man.
You haven't, have you?
Yeah, I've been.
No, surely not.
I don't know people
Really, Ben? Seriously?
He's had a lot of personal, issues that have affected his footballing career. I'm over the moon that he's then hopefully he's going to walk into another job. I wish him all the best at Crawley.
And by that you mean you hope Crawley get relegated?
Well, no, I don't. I hope he does all right, and like he does all right. I hope it's a better fit than he is at Swindon. I hope it's just a better fit for him there. It's nearer home. But at Swindon, it just wasn't working. We were slipping down to lower half of mid-table. We would have finished 16th or 17th if we finished. I think now we've got ourselves a genuine opportunity with a sprinkle of extra players to actually do something this season, because it's a pretty poor league. Other than the top three, who I do believe are now pulling away and probably untouchable unless we do something special. Playoffs are there because there's not that many good teams in this league.
Okay, I won't. Oh, sorry. Carry on, Ben.
No, so it's league. So this is so far it's been a cracking window for Swindon because we've probably just signed the best striker in the league and we've just got big.
Oh, fuck off! You said this about Jeff Cott.
Yeah, right. So Charlie Oskin's record shit.
Fyfie, can I just reply to a comment?
He is the best striker in this league because look at his record. He's only 33.
Okay, go on, Nick.
Yeah, someone's friends put a comment up saying we do not have a good bunch of players. Where do you base that assumption on? It's based on the fact that I've watched every home game and a good number of the away games. So when you've watched that, you can have an opinion on it. So my opinion is we have got a good bunch of players. They haven't all been playing brilliant, admit. And I think, again, as I said, that's more down to the coaching than individuals. So we'll see where we are at the end of the season.
Can I just second what Nick says? A lot of them have been playing out of position and playing far too defensive and playing with a handbrake on. Hopefully, we have a manager that will actually get them forward a little bit. We've got so many creative players out there, but they've not been allowed to express themselves and create as well as we'd like. So hopefully we'll see that.
We're back to the Brady bunch now.
Back to the Brady bunch because
Kieran's had enough of that comment.
Kieran was okay being called Jeffrey Dahmer, but when he got compared to the guy from Up, he said, "No, that's enough for me."
He did look like the guy from Up though at the beginning of the video when he falls in love with that woman. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. He's back.
He just wanted to go up front.
I'm bored of that. I'm bored.
Doesn't he?
Got bored of the right way. I don't know where the camera's gone now.
Kieran's like, you can go home once we've finished this pod.
Oh dear.
I don't know where my face has gone, but apparently it's.
Never mind your face. You look beautiful. You just relax.
Oh, can you see me? Because I can't see me.
Yes, we can see you fine. Right, I'm not gonna sort of ask you all. I'll just let you all jump in on each other on these. So before stop it. So as I said earlier, we did the 2 polls. So let's start with poll number 1. I'll flash that one up on the screen. So we have Richardson, Garrard, Bowyer, and Manning in there. And Garrard won quite convincingly. Rich, I know you wanted to have your say on this one.
Oh dear. Right. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Well, hopefully at the beginning.
Yeah, I'll try. I mean, Luke Garrard, really, guys, like seriously, Luke Garrard. I mean, just look where he is right now. Now, I know people say, "Oh, yeah, he's young. He's experienced now. He's been Bowden Wood for 7-8 years.
Too long.
7-8 years at Bowden Wood in a conference team and has done nothing. Oh, yes, he's had no financial back-in or anything like that. Fucking David Artell didn't have that at Crew, and he got them promoted. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. I'm sure Grimsby didn't have a very good.
Artau had a slightly bigger budget in comparison to what Garrard's got.
Yeah, but
even in comparison to League Two.
To the conference, into the conference. I know Wrexham.
Artau, to be fair, Artau had 4 promotion spaces, and Garrard's got 2. So
still,
yeah,
I mean, they were in a good.
League Two.
I think they were in a good position a couple of years ago, though, weren't they, or something like that? But okay, yeah, he had a good cup run, etc. He's not done anything. He's not done anything.
Who has done something? Who has done something?
David Artau.
David Artau's got a crew out of League Two. I'm not saying Artau is. I'm not saying Artau is.
Well, based on that, then we'll get Phil Brown because he's had a few promotions.
Yeah.
No,
he's still got the same blue suit. That's not allowed. He can't get back.
But
Eddie just rocked up to the county ground in it,
and his brown shoe.
Hello, Matt.
One thing I want to say, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, yeah, it's the nostalgia of it, the fact that he's coming back to the club that he started." Guys, he played 11 games in 3 fucking years. He's hardly a club legend. Like. Genuinely, I'm sorry.
Club legend status is irrelevant though, because let's be honest, we've seen some things posted online about Cadiz, and it didn't exactly get the most positive of reactions from our WhatsApp group.
I mean, God, no, Cadiz again, no, not yet, not for a while.
So just out of interest, Rich. If I bring just poll number 1 back up for now, was there anyone on that list you would be happy with?
Yeah, the top one and the bottom one.
Richardson and Manning.
100% Richardson, the short time that he had at Wigan, he did bloody wonders.
Matt's right.
He was fantastic, and the fact that he got the oh, fuck's sake. The fact that Liam Richardson got the lowest percentage makes me believe that not many people know exactly who Liam Richardson really is.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think that poll is very accurate in terms of the
Don't
people
slag
knowing.
off the poll, Rich.
I'm not saying.
I'll tell you how Liam Richardson is. He was the caretaker manager at Accrington Stanley. He was the caretaker manager at Wigan. Exactly. And he's only got a 38% win rate. So he's not shining in fucking glory either. I don't understand this kind of argument that we're gonna suddenly appeal to the manager who's just got an amazing record, who's got out of League One into the Championship.
No,
I mean this is why I don't think. Well, too busy selling his book, isn't he? But but yeah, I think we've got to bear in mind as well, and we all said about our opinions on Dean McKaylee. We've got to bear in mind as well that this will not be a manager who has got the balls to say no. It's going to be a head coach model. David Artau is probably the most extreme that we will get. We won't get anywhere near Graham McCann. We won't get anywhere near some of the other names I mentioned. That's why the likes of Luke Garrard pick up, because in terms of a head coach, for me, that's why Luke Garrard will be good, because we're looking for a head coach. We are not going to be looking for a manager. I'm sorry, but whilst Dean McKaylee's still there, who is the problem, we're not going to be getting a manager. So we might as well look at head coaches. And that's why Garrard, who's only a head coach at Boreham Wood, probably deserves a shot in this league.
My issue is as well, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a shot. Like I say, I mean, I know we had a conversation about this the other day in terms of his ambition and stuff like that, and he has been quite cushy. He has had it quite, and I think he's fairly local to there as well, isn't he? Because he's from Barnet, so and he obviously manages in Boreham Wood, so that
know a lot about someone you don't like.
I do my research, mate.
You've gone from
Rich doesn't come on this and do his research.
You've gone from no to actually, he's all right.
Fucking more U-turns than Lindsay.
No, genuinely though, no. Absolutely fucking not. No, but no, genuinely though, I personally think that in terms of Garrard, I just I don't feel as if that he would be able to, because obviously we've got a big personality in terms of Charlie Austin there now. We need somebody that's potentially going to stand up to him, because we know what he can do if he doesn't get things his way. We need an experienced head, an experienced manager. And do I think Garrard can offer that? No, I don't think he can. But that's my personal opinion, though.
I mean, does anyone else want to comment on Garrard or any of the other names on poll number one?
Lee Bowyer might.
None of them are good enough. None of them are good enough.
Bowyer's been in a few scraps.
Manning
I
could be
agree.
good enough.
Liam Manning's had one season at MK Dons.
Yeah.
It was about it's a similar thing to Garner's. It's failed, and he's done fucking terribly this year. He got lucky because he had Mo Elsa, Scott Twine, and the squad that he had at MK Dons. If you're not getting promoted with that, it's similar to how Ben Garner didn't get promoted to the squad he had last season. So he's not. So he's like you say, would he drop to League Two? He probably would, because he's not actually done anything within the game. He's like Scott Lindsay, possibly a very good coach. He's sort of Ben Garner-esque. He probably will drop to League Two in the next year, or a fucking debt-ridden League One club that are going to struggle. So I don't think Liam Manning is like the appointment everyone thinks he is, because he's at MK Dons, and if you view an MK Dons as some massive club, get in the bin.
We compare MK Dons because of a style of football. That's why, and everyone goes,
yeah, exactly, style of football. And I don't think everyone's like. I think, would he be a good appointment? For me, it's not. It's a sort of sideways step again with him. Is Fyfie gone?
He's heard enough.
Kieran,
right, let's call
Kieran, don't panic. Don't panic. I'll step in. I've had a bottle of wine, but don't worry. Nothing can go wrong.
Right?
Don't say
That's it. Steer the ship, Craig. Steer the ship.
I think Liam Manning would be a sideways step. He's had one failed season and has done really badly this year with MK Dons. Like they're no good. But I think if we think we're going to attract names like Lee Bowyer, Grant McCann, fucking deluded. As I say, David.
I wouldn't want them anyway. Kieran,
No,
I wouldn't want Lee Bowyer anyway.
I think what I want to do either way is we're not going to get relegated. See this model through to the end of the season. So appoint someone that is a pure out and out head coach that isn't going to want to be in charge of transfers and stuff, that's going to let the director of football or fucking technical director or fucking better man, whatever he is up there, no one really knows. He just sort of sits there and goes, I worked for Sky Bet once and I like data.
I agree with you. I think they really need to reevaluate at the end of the season. There's no point of reevaluating.
I think because if by the end of the season, you know, we sign a couple of players based on this data transfer model plus Charlie Austin, and it works out and we go up, okay, we still need to reevaluate at the end of the season, but give it a season. If Sandro has completely failed and not achieved what targets within the club they set and with what we expect as fans, then reevaluate it again. But we may as well go through to it. We're halfway through it now. We've committed to a squad for this season pretty much with the basis of it that's going to be left even after January, because we're not going to sign 10, 11 players. We're going to sign 5 at most. Even now, we're sort of midway through. We've not signed anyone yet, so I'm not confident it's going to be very many. It's going to be some reinforcements. See it through to the end of the season. So appoint someone till the end of the season that is a out and out head coach, or however long realistically that your best option is going to get, and see this data head coach model out to the end of the season. Then have a look at it again when you've got a longer time to rebuild a squad. And if we have to go for a rebuild,
Kieran, I totally disagree with that. We kick out this showcasing talent to improve young players. We need to get out of this league this season. We need to bring somebody in who can motivate the team we've got and get them up the league. And if we have to go via the playoffs, so be it, because that looks to be our best option. Forget this. Yeah, we've got young players and we're going to increase our value and we're going to sell them on. Do that when you're in League One or the Championship, not League Two. We need to get out of this league this season, and we need somebody who can come in.
That wasn't the word of the head coach.
Whoa! Only one at a time. Otherwise,
let me just finish. We need somebody who can come in and get that team doing what we need to do to get out of this league this season. And now Clem's got to make up his mind. What does he want? Because if we don't get out of this league and Gates will drop next season, as far as I'm aware, I think Austin's only signed on to the end of the season. So that bit will be gone. The Gates will be down next season and we'll be stuck in this league forever and a day. So he needs to take some positive action now.
Craig, you were jumping in there, and then Ben wants to have his say as well.
Yeah, well, remember, it was Sandro who said about developing the players. So if you bring in another manager and Sandro's got the same remit, then he's just going to do exactly the same as Lindsay.
To move forward, an adult needs to give their compassion.
Craig needs an adult.
Craig, signature on the Alexa.
I think he does.
Craig, you need an adult to let you speak.
Craig?
I got a bit worried then because consent was used, and then yeah, that's a bit weird. But yeah. Remember, it was Sandro that I get what you're saying, Nick. We should be doing that, but it's not all based on the head coach. It is also based on Sandro, the director of football, technical director, whatever you say. That it was his words. Remember, who said that. No matter what we do, we got to keep playing the same style of play so that we can develop these players and then sell them on. So unless Clem is said to Sandro, we need to change our culture and our long-term approach, and Sandro agrees with that, it's not going to make any difference who we bring in. We might bring in someone who's slightly better than Lindsay.
But that was my point, Craig, that I said Clem has got to decide what he wants to do now.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to come from. And to me, the priority has got to be get out of this league, however we need to do it.
Oh, I agree, mate. But at the end of the day, Sandro, he's not the man who's going to help us get out of this league this season.
Exactly. He can do one as well.
He's not going to bloody sack him. Can I just say, Fyfie, before Kieran went on his Shakespearean monologue earlier, because I didn't have to step in at all while you were gone, by the way. Liam Richardson, who was one on that list, who I think would be a good thing. He didn't just have one season. He was also the assistant manager for Paul Cook when Wigan went up the first time round. And he came in as caretaker manager after Sheridan got sacked and came to us. Remember when Wigan were below us in the table and we were saying, yeah, we're too good to stay up. We're gonna get relegated because we beat them and all this and everything. And what did he do? He kept them up. We went down. And then he got them promoted last season. All right, they're not doing too well this season, but the championship is fucking difficult. It is a really difficult league. So
I wouldn't know. Swindon fan.
And he's worked with Sandro.
Yeah, he has worked with Sandro.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Sandro was there for about half a season last season. So yeah, you know, there is that. But I think, you know, when it comes to his credentials, and also one thing that I didn't realise when I was researching him earlier, you know, just to say about the type of person he is, this might not have any bearing on him getting the job. But he saved the life of one of his players in training who had a cardiac arrest, Charlie White.
See that? Yeah,
he gave him CPR straight away. So, you know, I think it speaks volumes of him. What's so funny, Fyfie? See, that's what they call timing, Fyfie. You know, I'm saying something very profound and serious and everything, and then you just go in with that and just totally, I don't know. But yeah, I honestly,
and it's in Nick's special room.
I honestly think
most unprofessional podcast ever.
No, we're not winning any awards, are we? That's for sure.
Well, to be fair, we're not one of the big four, are we? According to the local paper, so I don't give a fuck.
But yeah,
we're above that.
I think on that list, Liam Richardson, I wouldn't have a problem with Garrard getting the job either. But I think a lot of the names, like we said, that have been like Cowley brothers. We're not going to be able to afford them. 2, they're not going to drop to League 2. That's for sure. So
and 3, Craig, they don't play our tippy tappy football either. They play hoofball.
Yeah, no, they don't play hoofball. They don't. People have got to realise there isn't just possession-based football at A and then B hoofball. There's more than two types. There's more than two types of fucking football, and they don't play hoofball, you know. But there we go. But yeah, I honestly think Leah Richardson from that first list that you posted up, Fyfie.
Okay. Ben, I know you want to have your say, and I'm coming to you next. I just want to highlight, Nick, I don't know if you saw all the comments that were coming, that was flashing up on the screen saying, I agree with Nick. Let Nick speak to the players. Bang on, Nick. Got that completely right, Nick. Rob's also tweeted in. Evening, Rob. Just go on, Nick, with free clap hands emojis as well. So a lot of people very much buying into your whoever comes in has to get us out of this league now.
Thank you.
Ben, you wanted to have your say before we look at poll number 2?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Nick went, really. We just made a signing that's very short term, that's very this season. And his first interview, he said he's not interested in the playoffs. He wants automatic promotion. He's here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to fire us to promotion. He is not here to finish 12th, and well, let's hope that Hutton goes for a bit of money this season and makes a profit. He's not here for that. And he would have had conversations with Clem going, I'll come to Swindon, but I don't want to finish 13th because that will end my career. So Clem would have given assurances going, well, we're going to go for it. I think this window, Swindon are going to be quite busy. And I think we're going to be surprised in the movement that we see. And Sandro is not our owner. Clem is. Yeah. And I am actually quite positive that we are going to be in quite a good position come February the 1st with the squad. And I think we may be surprised in who we bring in.
But Ben...
not in the know. That's
no, I'm fine with you. I just want to ask you very quickly on that point specifically. Is Clem any good with a spreadsheet?
I don't know. Don't give a fuck. Probably because he's a self-made man. Yeah, he's probably quite good because he's a businessman. So he probably knows all right. I bet he's done a few. I bet he's done. He's a whiz around Excel. But yeah, no. Look, honestly, I think there's probably some serious conversations that have been had, and I think the club want to get out of this division. I think Clem wants to get out of this division. And I think he's not going to break the bank doing it, but he's going to do everything he can from now on to the window. And he's making short-term signings so we can get out here. Because if we finish 13th this season, Charlie Austin's not going to be here next year. And it would be wasted that we sign someone like that and not actually do anything. So I think we're probably in for a decent window.
Joe has messaged in positivity, Ben. I love it.
Well, he's gone now, isn't it? So I'll be myself again. So, brilliant.
We like the old Ben.
Yeah.
And then he says he pays people to be good at spreadsheets. So Wazza, Ned, and Joe, I'll come to you first on poll number 2. If there's any of the names here that you'd like to talk about. So we had the Cowley brothers who won it quite easily. McCann, who, as Christian pointed out, he was the name that I threw into our WhatsApp chat as I thought he probably had the best credentials, and he got the lowest percentage of the vote. Artel there on 21%. He's already been mentioned a few times. And the strange name that I've seen a couple of times, Warburton as well, who, I'll be honest, and it might be slightly unpopular, if Warburton came in, I'd be absolutely delighted. So Wazza, Ned, Joe, any of you want to jump in first on that one?
Well, I think most likely out of that list is Artel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Fyfie. I think Warburton would be an unbelievable appointment, but I can't see it happening. I think out of those that list there, I think Artel would be the one. I'm not a particular fan of the man himself, but you know, if he comes in and does the job, then fair play. But I'd be more than at the moment. I'm just, I don't really care who it is. Just play some attacking football and have a go.
Yeah,
that's all I'm interested in.
Ned, was it?
I agree with what Joe said. I off air, I told you, didn't I? Warburton would be.
I think my connection's been a bit.
Oh, all right, Ned.
you carry on, Wazza.
Yeah, I think Warburton would be unbelievable. You know what I mean? I think he's got that every little bit that he's been a manager, he's been a head coach, he's done both roles. He's an older, wiser head with experience. I just think he would be the best option out of any of it. I agree with Joe. I think it will be very difficult. He's at the moment, I think he's with Moyes, isn't he, at West Ham, I think, at the moment. So, you know what I mean? It'll be a very tough one to pull away. But that would be the statement one. That would be the one that would think, actually, we're going to have a good go here. And, you know what I mean?
That would be the equivalent to the Charlie Austin signing, would it?
Oh, yeah, because, well, I don't know if you've seen, but I think someone was saying today, I was looking on one of the groups, that Warburton was there with Austin, and I think they had quite a good relationship when they were at QPR together. You know what I mean? I think I'd love that to happen. Whether it would, I just can't see it, because like you say, there's different factors. Money, he's not going to be the yes man, that he's not going to say, you know what I mean? I don't think someone of that mould would be yes, yes, yes. He would disagree with options and stuff like that. But that would be the one for me, 100%. But whether it happens, I think we're going to end up with a name that might not be on any of those two lists, to be honest, that we've seen. I think it could, you know what I mean? I don't think it'll happen. I don't think someone put a good argument up for Artau, but I don't know, has he done enough? Crew days, you know what I mean?
Well, so here's the interesting thing. Let me, for my own sake, I need to understand this done enough not comment that keeps coming up about all these people, because what we need to remember is, no matter how much we love the club, Swindon Town are a League Two side who currently, on current form, are struggling to maintain a playoff spot. So what, you know, we're not going to attract a Pep Guardiola, a Jose Mourinho and an Alex Ferguson out of retirement who have achieved a lot in football. What does this doing something mean to a mid-table League Two side?
Well, the way we go about things, though, is surely there's got to be we've had big names before, and don't get me wrong, some of them haven't worked out and some of them have. But I just feel like there's got to be a moment where you've got to take a punt. I don't think this can carry on with this younger model and going like this and working off something like that. I just honestly think that there's got to be a punt taken. And there's people out there that will want the job. You know what I mean? We're a League Two club, but you speak to a lot of people. Swindon we're a big community, a big base. You know what I mean? I know that doesn't win you football matches, but it's an attraction. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something there. And I honestly think that I sometimes don't think we don't dig enough, because I think we think, oh, money, everything like that. But I don't think the opportunity's there now. We've got a bit of a free hit the next few months to have a real good go and see where it could take us. And I just don't feel like we'll go for it. I honestly don't. And I don't agree with Ben's point with regards to, I don't think the club will take a punt. I think they've took the punt with Austin. I think that's what happened. But I think Austin, I love Charlie Austin, but this is him walking off into the sunset with being at Swindon. He's got an easy role. He's going to be loved for 6 months. He's 33 years of age now. He will score goals. I totally agree with that. But I don't think he's going to fire us into the top end of this league. I just don't think it'll happen. 1, because of the service. 2, I don't think he's got it in him no more, which is horrible to say, but I just don't think he will score the goals that we need. And I just don't think, I think they've took an easy punt on him.
What Mike's just said there is bang on. There's only 92 jobs in the league, and you've got 5 times as many, at least, probably managers available. So Wazza is bang on there. We should be a big pool. We're in a stronger position to you know, for people to come. We're not a basket case club like Crawley or anything like that. We steadied the ship. Whatever people think of Clem Morfuni and Rob Angus and how they manage the club, they've steadied. We are a good, attractive proposition. I'm not, you know, sometimes us Swindon fans, we could come across as having a superiority complex because we're Swindon and all in League Two. And we do have to remember we are a League Two club, but why not pull a Mark Warburton in or someone like that? We've, you know, stranger things have happened, haven't they? With Panio and people like that. So, but it's like Wazza said, does Clem want to roll the dice? Is he going to go? Is he going to, push the boat out a little bit further in order to get us up this season? And like Wazza said, I'm not too sure whether he will or not.
I think we're the second biggest club in the league. We're the second most supported world club in the league. We are financially stable. We've got a pretty decent squad for the level. We've got a gun striker. We've got potential to do quite well this season. We are an attractive prospect to a manager who would probably fancy to do well with us. So there's probably quite a few managers, lower league managers, maybe another manager who's been out a little bit, maybe like Warburton, would probably quite fancy the Swindon job because it could get their career rocketing better. A promotion with Swindon, and that will up their profile. So I actually think that there'll be quite a bit of interest. Maybe not the Cowleys or anything like that because they can get top jobs, but
Ben, don't get me wrong. I agree with you. I want that to happen. But whether I think it'll happen is two different things.
We will know in the next 4 weeks. We will know in the next 4 weeks, don't we? So we can have this conversation. All we can do is speculate.
Ned, let the final word over to you. I'll just flash that in case you didn't see it the first time. The managers in pool number 2. We've had some discussion on Artell and Warburton in particular. Your thoughts on the winners of the group, Cowley brothers, or the lowest ranked in McCann?
If I'm honest, I probably wouldn't want the Cowley brothers anyway. I think they're not the type of people who would sit under a director of football. I couldn't see that model working. They would want more say and they wouldn't get it. So I think that's a massive non-runner. I think Warburton, he managed at Brentford before, didn't he? So he's worked under the model previously. So I mean, if there was a way of getting Warburton in, I mean, that's literally the perfect person to bring in. I can't see it happening. I mean, but as Nick said before, we absolutely need to get out of this league, 100%, because when you look at it's a bit of a random thing to compare it with, or even compare it with. Let's just say that League 2 is probably the worst league, including National League, for being on television. I mean, the National League's all over BT Sport. League 1's on, Championship's on, and the Premiership's on. But you very rarely see League 2 games on the telly. So there's no money in being in League 2. We just need to get out of this league as soon as possible, and then we can start to really, if we have to use this model, then we could probably get, a stronger caliber of player and really make that model work. But I don't know. Warburton out of that list for me is, if that was the 4 choices, Warburton for sure for me would have been, number one.
Okay. And as I said, leading into the feature, we then did a separate poll, putting Garrard up against Cowley brothers as the 2 poll winners, and Garrard won with over 50% of the vote. So he was the overall winner of the poll vote. We've obviously spoken about him, and Rich has been very clear in his thoughts on him. So we'll leave that one there and let people make their own assumptions. The comments in the chat have been very interesting. I've been flashing up while you've all been talking. Let's move on to the second feature on the ticker along the bottom. Was anyone surprised to see Aguiar go away on a month's loan?
No.
I was surprised that it was only a month. If you're going to do it, send him on loan for the rest of the season. I've said this before in the WhatsApp group. This stop-start thing with our players who we're supposedly developing and then selling on, we're sending them away for a month. They're coming back, sending them away for a month, coming back. We can't develop players and have a squad that's competitive for League 2. We need an under-23s team or a B team like what Brentford have got. It's not working. Players like Aguiar and Roberts and stuff like that, their development's going to regress because they're not playing game time. They haven't got the game time in. So yeah, I'm glad he's going on loan, but he's just not going on loan for long enough.
I think with Aguiar, I think he's always been within the first team this season. I think personally for me, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, towards the end of last season, he was firmly in the squad. And he's definitely a squad player. And he's only 20, 21 years old. So, I get what you're saying, but obviously, he's been very stop-start this season. He's been either in the team or he hasn't been in the team. For me personally, for me personally, it seemed personally for me it seemed as if Lindsay maybe had Aguiar in his squad. In his thoughts going forward. So maybe he was like, "Oh, I'm going to send him out on loan for a month, get his fitness up, get him playing some football, and then, put him in the team." Obviously, Lindsay's not here anymore, so that's the only thought I had on it. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. And I think with certain players that have gone on loan, I completely agree with you, though. Great.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to comment on the Aguiar thing? Or I've got one more that got added to the list after I typed it up before we move on.
It's solely just game time. That's all
Yeah.
it is. And he just needs minutes. He just needs minutes. I don't think he's a bad lad. I think he's blown a bit hot and cold like a lot of our midfielders have this season. And I think it's solely just to get him out to get games. And you can't replicate that in training. We've had the conversation loads of times. You can't. And he needs to go out and play minutes, and Torquay are battling for their lives, so he's going to have to jump in and he's going to have to muck in, and it could be the making of him. He could come back another, the better form of Aguiar that we want to see. So it could benefit us in the end.
I always thought it's a bit of mystery that he's not played more this season, because he's a player that creates opportunities for other people and himself. He creates that little yard of space, and he's not afraid to have a pop at goal, and he's got a bit of a shot on him. And I think that's something that we've missed this season, and he's not been played, which is criticism number 4,769. I've got the manager that's disregarded. But I hope he cracks on. I hope he does really well, and we see the Aguiar that we saw around the Walsall game last season, because he's got it in him to be a really good player at this level, and hopefully under a new manager we get to see that.
Okay. The quick point I'd make as well is the National League is near enough the same as League Two now.
Yeah, bang on.
So he is going to a lower level, but it's near enough the same standard of football. So he's not going to be playing. Yeah. He's going to be up. If he goes there for a month and plays 5-6 games, he's going to be right at it when he does come back, or if he stays there for the season, whichever. But he's not. He's going to a lower league, but I wouldn't say he's going to a worse standard. I think he's going to play at a similar standard that we're at. So I think that's a very good move, actually.
Yep.
One more then before we move on, and just before we came live, I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw that former Town goalkeeper Ty Belford has finally officially announced retirement from football. He has been playing non-league as well as doing coaching in recent years, and I was fortunate enough to see him actually played a season and a bit here at Hinckley at my local non-league team as well. Where his family are very well connected within the fabric of the club. So we've actually spoken to Ty in the past about coming on, and then sometime later in the season it may well be a possibility. So we may get to speak to him personally. But it's another former Town player officially retired from the game now. He said he's going to concentrate on his coaching. I think he's got some injuries and stuff he's going to get seen to as well potentially. But for me personally, like I say, having seen him play for Swindon and Hinckley, I'd obviously like to wish him all the very best in whatever he goes on to.
Yeah, knowing Ty, he's a lovely man. Ty's a good boy. So, wish him all the best.
Okay, so next up, we've got the first of 2 games for this evening. On what looks like it could well be a bumper edition of Fools Rush In, that's for sure. But this should be relatively quick fire, as it's my birthday tomorrow. And we were discussing about what to do to mark the occasion. And Woody is a throwaway comment. I'm 99% sure it was Woody. Said, we should do some sort of quiz. And I said, okay, I'll do a quiz all about me, see who knows me best. You've all been talking to me long enough now. Right, excellent. Gone.
Can I also say it was a great tribute for Swindon Town to not disappoint Fyfie on his birthday by losing. So they didn't play at all. So I think that's thank you to the lads for not ruining Fyfie's birthday by losing on it, by keeping the weekend free. Well,
Yeah,
I'll have you know.
I agree, Ben. Can we just pick up on something just very quick before we address that? Rich has put in the chat, I'm going to drop off, boys, going to bed. I'm sorry. How old is he?
He's
Friday night and he's gone to bed.
Yeah, but no, let's, without wishing to start rumours or anything, because we're not a rumour podcast. He did say to me off air that he was dressed to go out afterwards. So he said he's going to bed. He's not necessarily said he's going to his bed.
Oh,
yeah, he didn't ask who with, would he?
Oh. Right, lads,
So,
lads, I've known,
Rick,
I've known Rich
have
for
a
nearly
great
10
evening.
years. Trust me, he's going to his own bed.
I was going to say Kieran's gone off as well.
Maybe
Kieran went ages ago. At least it means that the quiz will fly by that little bit quicker. I will keep the scores. There's only 9 questions in the Who Knows Fyfie Best quiz, but plenty of points available. As I just quickly write all your names down to keep score. Nick, Wazza, Craig. Craig, Ben, Ned. So 9 questions, and what I'll do is simple one-word answers is fine. I'll just go through, and it'll be a point for every correct answer, and see where we go from there. So, with the exception of one question, I believe I've mentioned every single one of these occasions on a podcast in the last 2 years. So who's been paying attention to what I've had to say when I'm talking about myself?
Time.
So we'll start with Joe, as he's next to me on the list.
Cheers, no pressure.
So, Joe, what was my first ever Swindon game?
Oh, a friendly against Man United.
Interesting. Okay, Woody?
A friendly against Man United.
Craig?
I don't think it was a friendly. It was a game that Migla Ramsey was playing in. So I don't know. Fucking home against Doncaster.
Home against Doncaster. Nick?
It's got to be Warsaw. We seem to play them all the time, so it has to be Warsaw.
Warsaw. Okay, nice. Wazza?
Because we're from the same era, Fyfie, and no one gives you the credit that you are. I think you were similar to me. I want to say home to Barnsley when Sam Parkin, because I thought that was my first game, so I just thought I'd check it out there.
Okay, yeah, no, it's a great shout.
What a game that was I was in the town end.
For my own self-indulgence, I've just had a message come through wishing me a happy birthday for tomorrow as well, which is lovely. Thank you very much. Ben?
Well, it's your 20th anniversary this season, which you said quite a few times. So it is the right season, 2003-4 or 2-3.
I think Mike's confusing me with Nick.
I am going for.
I mean, I did say it'd be a quick fire quiz.
Crew.
Never quick fire on
Crew.
Crew.
Okay. Ned?
I'll just say someone different then. Home to Rotherham.
Rotherham. Well, quite remarkably, Joe did actually get it right, and it was the friendly with Man United youth.
Wow.
Which means Woody's
youth. Hang on, youth team doesn't count, does it? Surely it's got to be a proper game.
Competitive game.
Yeah.
My first ever Swindon game was a pre-season.
He didn't say what first game. He said what first game.
Yeah. I hope you're not going to accuse me of copying Joe there. I just pay attention to
It's all right, because Woody gets to go first for question 2.
What's your first competitive game?
I'll ask Joe, look at your phone. I'm just going to ask you the answer.
My first competitive game. Oh, fucking hell!
It was home to Rotherham.
So Ben, you were close, because my first season was actually I said when we've done the 20-year stuff that next year is my 20-year. So the Brighton playoff season was my first season.
Right. You are older than me.
To be honest, I don't remember what my first competitive game was. I have no idea. Could have been that memorable. Right, Woody, question 2. I remember in my early years supporting Town having 5 different players' names on the back of shirts. point for everyone you can remember.
Say again.
So I've said that I remember having 5 players' names on the back of shirts during my time supporting Swindon. Point for every player of the 5 you can remember.
I don't know. Miglaranzi.
That's expensive.
Probably would have cost too much.
That would have cost too much. You've got to think Sammy Igo, players like that.
Did Perry Ung play for us at any point? We're Chet Parkin in there. Probably Smith. You probably have one of the Smiths on there.
Michael Smith. Willy boy.
I'm just going to say Austin. I don't think you would have had Austin, but
okay,
let's get with Austin.
One more.
And Ruddock, just for shits and giggles.
Okay. Craig?
Sturrock. Blair Sturrock.
Oh, I loved Blair
Sturrock. Yes.
I think you're a bit of a fan of Barry Core as well.
Oh, Barry Core.
Barry Core, okay.
Yeah.
Good value as well. Good value.
Good value. Ned's playing the money game.
It's true though. If I was a dad, Barry Core that we've won, you can have.
Yeah, I'll put Parkin in there as well.
I will give you a clue. No one that Mike has said there is correct.
Yeah, one of the Smiths is definitely a shout. We've had about 5, haven't we? So maybe. Fuck it. Yeah, go Miglaranzi.
Okay. Is that 5?
Yeah, that's 5. Yeah,
I think that's 5. Yeah. Nick.
Parkin.
Cox.
Leon Clark. Yeah, Coxey. Christ, I think I'm very good at players on that era.
You can always sacrifice the points if you want, Nick, and just pass.
Yeah, because I'm shit at quizzes. Go on. I'll give those 2.
He's just giving that way. Water?
Migliaranzi, Parkin, Simon Cox, Rory Fallon, and we all went for strikers back in that day, didn't we? No one put anyone else apart from like your centre mids or your strikers. Brian Howard.
Brian Howard definitely got a few.
Brian Howard
has definitely got a few because I kept seeing Fyfie go.
Okay.
And Craig got none because he had to ask Craig how many he's answered.
Well, so far, I can tell you, out of everyone that's said, out of the 4 of you that have guessed so far, 1 person has got points. Ben?
Charlie Austin, Sam Parkin, Cox, Matt Hewlett, for some weird reason. I think his name's going to pop in there. And Miggs.
Okay, so mad respect for the Matt Hewlett shout. Now, Ned and Joe, I'm going to give you 2 a bit of an advantage here because I've just said that before Ben, the 4 of them had guessed and only 1 of them had got points, and Ben proceeded to say someone that all of them had said. So maybe think of players that hadn't been said yet. So it's Ned's turn.
I'm not going to change because I can't think of any more players. Cox, Core. Cox, Core, Parkin. I was going to say Miggs, but I'll take Miggs back. I'll go for Howard, and we'll go for. Oh, fuck it. Bullock.
And Joe?
Break your legs, Darren Bullock. Love him.
I'll try and mix it up a bit. Well, I think Miglaranzi is like your favourite ever player, so he's got to be in there.
Okay.
How about Sophie and Zaboob?
Zaboob, what a player.
I'm trying to think of
Steve,
more
Danny,
players from that
Piss,
era.
What's he playing smart?
They never had Zeds in the club shop, so you wouldn't have no one got you just got a boo.
I just got boo.
Lee Peacock.
Sophie and Zaboob.
Sorry, who was that one, Joe?
Lee Peacock.
Lee Peacock.
Great
nice.
shout.
Great
Good
shout.
shout. Good shout.
What about Lee Peacock's mate, Christian Roberts?
Oh,
Roberts.
great
One
shout.
more.
I quite like the Sammy Igo. That was not a bad shout earlier on, so I might go
Good
for that.
value
I
again.
I said that, but didn't actually
So-
say my selections.
I have to say,
Half price shirt and a cheap name on the back.
Joe scored best in that round. The 5 I can remember having was Barry Core, Christian Roberts, Sophie and Zaboo, Gerald Eiffel,
Oh, yeah.
and Jonathan Douglas.
Jonathan Douglas.
Wow.
Dougie.
I didn't get one.
Because no one puts defenders. No one puts defenders, do they? Was there?
No.
Great.
Just definitely older than me.
I can only remember having
Did you, Fyfie, did you say when we had Gerald Eiffel on? Did you say you had his name on the back of your shirt?
It got referenced because Kieran said, "Didn't you tell us once that you had Eiffel's name on the back of your shirt?" And I just looked at him as he looked down the camera, and I went, "Yeah, that was it."
Well, fair play.
So, Craig, you're up first for question 3. I told the story of getting strange looks from people during the Brentford playoff game. Can you remember why?
Oh no. The only thing I can guess is from going to games with you, it was cold and you were wearing just your shirt.
Okay.
My mind
There was something below the shirt, but yeah.
Just my shirt, nothing else.
I don't know. Was it? Oh no, because it wouldn't have been that cold, surely, would it? Then? Oh fucking hell!
It's all right. Shall I take that and move on to Nick?
Yeah, I'll take the hit there. I can't.
Go on, Nick.
Well, I was going to say that you were in your t-shirt in shorts.
Okay.
Yeah. Apart from that, I can't. You could have been breaking some ribs. So yeah, hugging or hardly wearing anything.
Okay, Wazza?
I ain't got a Scooby, mate.
Okay, fair enough. Ben?
I think it was the game you wore a dress.
Ben?
There's more than one game.
I seem to remember getting some decent food at Brentford at half time. So I'm going to say that you had some array of ketchup or some kind of sauce all over your face and you didn't realise.
Okay, good shout. Nice. Joe?
Well, being to a few games with you now, I can imagine you picking somebody up and throwing them in the air when the goal went in.
You can just give off this impression that I just throw people around.
Nick didn't even watch the next to at Northampton. That says it all.
Woody?
I'm going with the boring one. I reckon you were sat in the Brentford end and you celebrated when they scored.
Ooh, good shot.
That's it.
Sadly, nothing as exciting as that, I'm afraid. That was the story that I told you that I wasn't able to go to the game because my now ex and our son were on holiday. I was driving back, and as the header went in to take it, I was sat at traffic lights and just literally my car was bouncing up and down, and I had cars either side just looking at me. There we go. Okay, so that means Nick. How's your maths, Nick?
Average.
Saying
that, I did.
Damn it! I was waiting for the shootout.
Secondary school, I did win first prize for coming top in a maths exam, but that was a long time ago.
Okay, so
Had an abacus, didn't you, Nick?
Yeah.
do you remember why my 22nd birthday was really significant for STFC?
Oh, fucking hell. What year was your 22nd birthday?
Well, that depends on how well you know me, Ben.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Must have been January. What would have happened in January? What are we talking? 10 years ago? 12 years ago. January. Di Canio sign.
Okay. Was it?
I was going to say that end of Jan. Wasn't that like Di Canio left? Maybe Di Canio gone. I don't know.
Di Canio gone. Okay, Ben.
I actually agree with what said. Di Canio left about this time, didn't he? After Macclesfield, he called it a day.
Okay, Ned.
Yeah, same.
Joe.
Don't think about it too much, Ned.
Steve took
What he
my
said.
answer.
What he said.
Sorry, Joe.
Steve took my answer. I was going to say the Wigan game.
David Wigan.
Yeah,
okay.
me. I was going to say that as well.
And Craig. You know, Craig.
Craig, mute. You're mute.
You're on mute, Craig.
Yeah,
Craig, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was eating pork scratching, so I didn't want people to hear me crunching. Oh, they were lush. I'm either going to go Wigan or Di Canio leaving, so I'm going to go Wigan.
You're going Wigan. The correct answer, my 22nd birthday, was the day we beat Wigan.
Oh, I remember that day. Stratton Bank. It was lovely.
Yeah, I was on Stratton Bank as well.
Yeah, it was good.
So that means, Walter, you're next up. Everyone pulled a face when I said that Ware was the coldest ground I've ever been to.
Everyone pulled a face when...
Because everyone says Oldham when this conversation comes
Yeah,
up.
that's what I was like, yeah.
Oldham is boundary park.
So, but I didn't say Oldham because I've never been to Oldham. Where have I been that I said was the coldest I've ever been?
Where's he been?
Woody's thinking of either a dirty or a rude answer.
I'm going to go Mansfield.
Mansfield, okay. Ben?
I agree. Mansfield.
Mansfield. Ned?
I don't know. Something is telling me it's Salford, and I can't get rid of that out of my head.
Okay. Joe?
I'm pretty sure we spoke about this on a night out. But I've got no fucking idea what you said.
That's because you were. Is that the night?
Why did that be, Joe?
Is that the night you were far too busy leading Sophie and Zaboo chants?
I was pissed at the time.
Amongst others.
Changing the words to songs.
Notoriously cold ground.
There's 91 to pick other than Swindon.
Yeah, but it could be a non-league ground.
Could be a non-league ground. Oh, well, you've got a couple of hundred.
Could you just pick any ground, Joe?
Let's go for Hinkley because it's close to you.
Hinkley, nice. Woody?
I'm going to go Walsall.
Okay.
Ooh, good
Craig?
shout. Good shout.
I'm going to go Crawley.
Crawley. Well, I can tell you someone has...
Hang on, I haven't had a choice yet.
Nick.
You're
Colchester.
Anyway.
Colchester.
I
can confirm that someone has got it right.
Oh, it's not me then.
I think it's Craig. I remember you saying it's Crawley.
Okay. Well, you remember wrong because Woody was correct, and I said Walsall on Tuesday night was the coldest I've ever been at a football game.
All right, then.
Let's bring it back.
Okay, 2 points on offer again here. Ben, you're first. What two players did I say I wish had played for Swindon?
Oh, fuck me.
Realistic players this was. We weren't talking about
realistic.
Pele and Maradona.
Yeah.
Two players you wish to have played for Swindon.
Can't even remember the two players I said in that thing.
If we keep this episode going another 50 minutes, it'll be my birthday.
I would say Jim Magilton and Paul Moody.
Okay. Obviously. Ned?
I'm quite confident with one.
Okay.
Lee Trundle.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ben's gone all. And who, sorry?
can't think of who the other one was.
Jerome Sinclair, Ned.
Lee Trundle. Who's the other one? Maybe Scott Murray.
Scott Murray. Okay.
Right.
Joe.
Well, funny enough, I was thinking of Lee Trundle as well.
Yeah, I was as well, for the record.
Chris Maguire.
Sake.
Oh, good shout.
Oh,
Another player. Well, I don't know. Nicky Wells.
Okay.
Lucky Wells.
Woody.
I'm sure Trundle was one of them because I seem to remember going on to talk about Atomic Kitten shortly after we were having that discussion.
That sounds like something we would do. Yes.
I want to say it was a defender.
No one picks defenders.
Well, clearly
you
you
do. I can't. I'm gonna have to pass on that one. I'll take the Trundle if it's right.
Craig.
Well, I wasn't thinking Lee Trundle, but I am going to put Lee Trundle down.
Because everyone else is saying Trundle.
But one person who I was thinking of was Paddy Madden.
Oh,
Okay.
Paddy Madden.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. Wow.
Still playing. Still playing.
Although, judging by your reaction there, you were quite surprised with that, so I don't think I've got it.
Maybe I'm more surprised that you remembered, Craig.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Maybe.
maybe.
Nick?
Well, I'll just copy everybody else because I haven't got a clue. Trundle.
I have to say, right, if Lee Trundle isn't the answer to this, what a hell of a player Lee Trundle was.
Oh, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Brilliant.
Bowler.
Good penalty taker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, sorry, Fluffy, I ain't got a clue.
That's right. Was it?
Oh, I'm going with Craig. Lee Trundle, Paddy Madden.
Okay. So I can confirm Lee Trundle was one of them.
Yes.
And Rob on Twitter has been paying attention because he's tweeted in and said, Dean Cox.
Dean Cox is a
yeah.
good player. Good shout.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, because
Well
I remember
done,
the
Rob.
episode as well. Remember the episode as well.
Remember the episode.
I don't.
Okay, so this isn't one that I've specifically said, but let's just see how much attention you've been paying. Tomorrow, or in just over 45 minutes, I turn 33 years of age. Who is the current Swindon Town number 33? And it would be Ned to go first.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I know it's not Cal Meadow. Cal Meadow -1, Romeo Dunn. One for the oldies out there. Fucking hell. What about that Abu, whatever his name is? Abu Khan, what's his name?
Abu Kanu.
Kanu.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Joe?
Well, Ned's wrong, and I'm going to give everyone else a point here because it's Morgan Roberts.
No. Oh, you twat. I was going to try and make it look like I wasn't copying you because I was 100% confident it was Morgan.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's Morgan
Chris,
Roberts.
why did I go first? It is.
Sorry, Fyfie.
So do you want to guess now that Joe and Woody have very confidently said it's Morgan Roberts?
Yeah, I think I'll guess it is
Abu Kanu.
Robert Morgan.
Yeah. Abu, no. Morgan Roberts.
I'm so laughed you still got it wrong.
Yeah, it was that player from non-league just up the road from where I live.
Banbury.
The Banbury boy. Yeah, we'll go.
By the way,
We'll go.
at this point, Woody, if we've done everyone here, we are magic.
I'm getting over your 33. I was going to say Saidu Khan 23. Fyfie.
You absolutely.
Somebody wants a ticket to the
Somebody wants
sponsors
to pay,
dinner.
right?
Already got a ticket, mate. Already got a ticket. No, I'll go with everyone else. Morgan Roberts.
Ben?
Simon Cox. No, Morgan Roberts.
Lovely. So points all round except for Ned because he went first. So with 2 questions left of the Fyfie quiz, do you want to know what the scores are?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So Ben has got 1.
Yes.
Nick, Warren, and Ned have got 2. Craig and Woody have got 4. And Joe has got 6.
on, Joe.
Champion Joe.
Uh,
Had to be Joe. It's Friday.
And speaking of Joe, it's Joe to go. In answer to your question, Craig, no, that's next.
Okay, cool.
Joe, you're next up. Can you remember what happened to me on my way to the Preston playoff final game?
No.
No? Okay, fair enough. Woody? This is your chance because Joe has an answer to prove that you're not just copying all his answers.
What did you say, Joe?
I said no.
He said no.
I'm gonna go simple and say you had a puncher or something.
Okay, Craig?
Save on.
This is shocking, really, because the amount of times I've gone back through the videos, editing, and bloody doing know everything, really.
He probably said it off air.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. I mean, all the others you said so far do ring a bell, but no, that one I haven't got a Scooby. No, sorry, mate.
Okay, Nick?
You had to keep stopping on the way up there because you had the shits.
Okay. What's it?
It's possible.
I'm going train delay.
Train delay, okay.
No, I wasn't working that day. So.
Yeah.
Ben?
I think you said something like stuck in traffic and you only just about made it.
Okay, Ned?
You need to talk to me more often because I don't know any of these answers. Maybe you come to my wedding and I just didn't know it.
Well, there were no points dished out. That was there got hit by a car.
Oh, remember.
Oh, you remember this?
Ben was driving.
And resulted in a puncher.
I thought I hit someone that day.
Fyfie, was the car all right?
No, I wrote the car off.
It was Woody. Woody hit you because he's got bold tyres and he couldn't brake.
Last.
If they went to Avon Tyres, they would have.
Avon Tyres. Woody to go first for the last question. 2 points on offer. Which future Fools Rushing panelist blanked me at an away game? And for the second point, where was the game?
Future Fools Rushing.
As in, at the time, Fools Rushing didn't exist. So which now current panelist?
That was Ben. That was definitely Ben.
Definitely Ben that blanked me, it says Woody.
It was definitely Ben that blanked you. Did you say it was an away game?
I did say it was an away game.
Where was it?
Must have been in the
So just a clue.
Okay.
Joe's thought about it. It would be somewhere that me and Ben would go.
Warsaw.
Craig?
Standard response.
I did think Ben, and I was also thinking Warsaw, but your reaction to it where you laughed, I don't think it is now.
Just laugh that Warsaw's come up so many times.
Mansfield, probably.
Northampton,
okay. Nick?
Yeah, it was definitely Ben. Know that.
Okay.
He hasn't been told the story. He just thinks Ben's that type of character.
I actually remember the story, but it's probably wrong, but I've just got a feeling it's Leicester.
Okay. Was it?
Ben and Mansfield.
Ben and Mansfield.
Can I go next?
Yeah, Ned.
Because obviously the person involved.
Unless he doesn't remember. Well, he might not remember where it happened.
Well, he didn't know at the time, did he? Did he, Fyfie? When you
go on, Ned. What are you saying?
I'm pretty sure it was Ben, and it was Northampton.
Okay. So Ben, was it you that blanked me?
I didn't know. I didn't.
me to go check?
You didn't make yourself aware, Fyfie. You know I'm deaf.
Unbelievable.
Didn't make myself aware. I'm 6'1". I'm not exactly skinny, am I?
Yeah.
And he was probably the only fucker wearing shorts.
I turned round. There was a guy in his trademark hat, and I went,
Nero.
"Hello, Ben." I'm not fucking talking to this young fucking wanker.
No, I wouldn't have said that. If you made eye contact with me, I would have engaged. I probably had Archie with me. To be honest, I might have been stoned at the time. I don't know. It was my youth. It was my youth.
No, it wasn't.
The game was Burton.
Ben, it wasn't 30 years ago, mate.
The game was Burton, Ben. Congratulations. Burton away.
Can I just point out I didn't have a go?
Yeah. So, Joe.
Joe,
what
was it? Where was it, Joe? Have a go. Oh, yeah, Joe didn't have a go. Joe, where was it?
It might have been Ben at Burton.
I think Joe had won anyway, so...
Joe, to be fair, Joe had one going into that. Well done, Joe. You know, you won the Fyfie quiz.
At least one of us likes you, mate.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. You won the quiz and Ben blanked me at Burton.
I didn't thank you. Honestly, I did not. I would have. I'm not that kind of. I'm lovely, honestly.
Probably Warsaw as well.
Yeah.
Something. Something we would. So our catchment, our sort of picture for today, and we posted it out this morning as well, was a picture of Charlie Austin holding his shirt with a Fools Rush In logo on it. And I have the picture here as well. There it is in all its glory. And the reason for that is Fools Rush In, much to, I'm sure, the dismay of the fan base as a whole, we have officially sponsored Charlie's away shirt for the rest of the season. So hot on the heels of Woody, who left, Beth, who left, Ian Harris, who's injured, Charlie Austin is the latest. As we try and continue to form links. We may not be considered one of the elite four by the local newspaper, but we are still making links within the club and trying to do our bit. So yes, Fools Rush In.
He signed a deal that he's allowed to play home games.
So,
Charlie, he goes to his family.
Charlie, if you are watching, we're sorry.
might just, oh no. But yeah, so Fools Rush In officially sponsor Charlie Austin's. Yeah, Danny, we'll try our best, but we can't make any promises. On an equal note, there will be something coming out in the next couple of days. Obviously, we've made reference earlier today about Beth leaving Swindon Town Women, and I have had communication that Fools Rush In will very shortly be affiliated to another member of the Swindon Town Women's team. So that will be
through them, aren't we, lads?
Basically, whoever's leaving in the next few weeks is going to be sponsored.
I ring up James and
all the women's team.
I ring up James and say, who do you want to get rid of?
Yeah.
We sponsor Ethan.
Wow. Moving swiftly on.
Woody's gone. Woody's gone. Yeah, I just sent you the money for it.
All joking aside, again, we were talking about Beth, or we mentioned Beth there. We wish her all the very best, obviously, at Warminster. And we have said that just because she's no longer at Swindon Town Women does not mean she's not part of the Fools Rush In family. And we have suggested that in the next couple of weeks, when she's all settled in at a new club, she comes back on and lets us know how she's getting on. So we will be still seeing plenty more of Beth throughout the season. Fear not. Will James still be in the women's team manager or promoted to the men's team job? So that leads us on to yes, the last topic of today, and it's a game that's actually about 4 weeks overdue. So I must apologise to John, who worked very hard, and when I messaged him today, he actually redid the numbers for me. So it's a simple game of higher or lower. However, there is a bonus point for who gets the closest, as we've done before. And you might have already read the ticker. Who is FRI's biggest social media monster? So what John has actually done is he's gone through our personal Twitter profiles, as well as some of our favourite friends associated to Fools Rush In. And he's to the nearest 100, he's rounded up or down, how many tweets we've done up until the 1st of December last year.
Well, mine's easy, none, because I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, you're not included, Wazza. So it's up to you guys. Do you want to do it as a 2-pointer, higher or lower, or just who gets closest?
Higher or lower?
Yeah,
higher or lower as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will start off with, let's bring the list up. So to give you an idea of where we are, Fools Rush In, our Twitter account, as of the 1st of December last year, had done 4,700 tweets to the nearest 100. No wonder you can't see my fucking things on my phones now. Just ridiculous. So next on the list is Woody. So by the 1st of December last year, we'll do it in the same order, but we'll go backwards as I'm looking at you. So Ned, as of the 1st of December, had Woody done more or less than 4,700 tweets?
I reckon less.
Less, okay. And a number on it, please?
I reckon, maybe something significantly less, maybe something like 2,900 or something.
2,900. Lovely. Ben?
Less. 2,901.
You can't start shit out.
It's to the nearest 100, Ben.
All right, 2,000. 3,000.
Rishi Sunak called. He wants you to attend his class, Ben.
So Ben's going 3,000, was it?
That's a lot of fucking tweets, isn't it? Lower, 1,500.
Lower 1,500. Nick?
Lower 1,700.
1,700. No, Mike, not all my accounts, just Fools Rush In. Craig?
How many was it again? So
Fools Rush In had done 4,700.
Yeah, definitely lower. I'd say 1,500.
We've already had 1,500, I'm afraid.
If we had 1,600.
We haven't?
1,600 then.
Woody, do you think you've done more or less than 4,700 tweets?
I think I've done more.
You think you've done more?
No, I think I looked back.
Answer, please.
I think I looked back I think I had something come through in November when I was doing some social media stuff, and I think I'm only just more. I want to say I'm around 4,800 to the nearest 100.
4,800, okay.
I think I'm pretty sure in November I was 4,000 and something.
Okay. Joe?
Well, I'm glad he said that because everyone else said lower, so I was going to go higher anyway.
You're welcome, Joe.
So let's go higher, 4,900.
4,900. Well, I can confirm, according to John's research, Woody had done more than Fools Rush In. And it was 4,800. So Woody gets 2 points.
Need to get out a bit more, Woody, I think.
I have been on it since 2011, mind.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
So Ben, you're
I'm pre Elon Musk era, like most losers.
Actually, for my own sanity, I'll just go forward and backwards. So Joe, Woody did 4,800. How many's Nick done?
Less. Got to be less.
Okay.
I don't think he's even done 1,000.
Okay.
900 I'm going for.
900. Woody?
I think when we count the retweets and all of that, I'm going to go less, but 1,200.
1,200. Craig?
1,300 less.
1,300. Nick, how many do you think you've done to the nearest 100?
100.
1,100.
1,100. Was it?
Well, I'm gonna go less. I'm gonna go 1,000.
1,000. What we got to do to get Wazza on Twitter? Ben?
1,200.
We've already had a 1,200, I'm afraid.
13.
Had that as well.
14.
1,400. And Ned?
I'm going to say 1,800 lower.
1,800. So everyone's gone lower and gets a point for doing so. He has done less than 4,800. The correct answer, though, was that he'd done 2,000 to the nearest 100, which means Ned gets this bonus point.
Yeah.
Well done, Ned.
Fuck, I don't know how many I've got.
So, Ned, we start with you again.
Yep.
Nick did 2,000 to the nearest 100. Did Craig do more or less?
Oh, God, I reckon it's more.
Okay.
But I don't know how long he's been on there for. That's the question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say 3,100.
3,100. Lovely. Ben?
More 3,300.
3,300. Was it?
Oh, it's got to be high. Think of all those like train sort of things and stuff like that.
Driving the train.
Oh, he loves it. Oh, I'd love to follow Craig on Twitter. Not even on Twitter.
You can imagine, you can fantasize if you want, was it?
Yeah. What was the figure for Nick's one?
So Nick's was 2,000.
Right, so higher, and I'm going to go 3,700.
3,700 was a Nick.
4,700.
4,700. Craig.
Now, this is a tricky one because my account that I've got at the moment, I only joined in February 2021. So,
it's letting the insider knowledge out.
Yeah, here's a tricky one. I'm going to get, I don't know, 2,000.
So you're saying it's the same? Okay.
What was the last one? Sorry, what
2,000.
Oh, I don't know. Go higher than 2,100.
2,100. Woody?
Well, for some reason I had in my head that Craig said he didn't really use Twitter until Falls. But I could be completely
He actually
wrong
put in our WhatsApp group the other day, I've started tweeting a bit more, Ben. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, so
I only came back onto Twitter when all the shit was going on with Lee Power and Clem and everything. So I was tweeting a lot at that time. So
Nick was on 2,000. Nick has probably got 1 million followers, so he has to reply to them. So I'm gonna go less and go 1,700.
Less than 1,700. And Joe?
I would have gone more, but now he said about his account, I'm going to go lower, 1,900.
1,900. Well, it was correct that the answer was, in fact, lower. So points for Joe and Woody. And Craig's is at 1,500 to the nearest 100.
Nice. You are a social media monster.
So Woody gets the bonus point there. Next, we go from Craig to Mark. Parody Clem Morfuni. Is he higher or lower to the nearest 100 than 1,500, Joe?
He's higher, I think.
Going higher, okay.
I'm not sure how long he's been on Twitter, but let's go for 2,100.
2,100?
Yeah.
Okay, Woody?
I'm going to go higher, and I reckon he's done fucking loads. I'm going to go 7,000.
7,000.
Wow.
Craig?
Yeah, I'll go higher, 5,000.
5,000 for Craig. Nick?
I'll go lower, 1,300.
Just a 1,300 for Nick. Was it?
Higher, 3,000.
3,000 for Wazza. Ben?
Higher, 4,500.
4,500. And Ned?
So, hang on. So this is the parody Clem Morfuni account, yeah?
Yeah, but he's changed his name since. He before Clem Morfuni, he would have been Mark. Unless he's got PCN in his actual handle.
Yeah, he has.
You can change your handle as well.
Yeah, you can change both.
I don't get any of this.
That's why you get some.
Was it?
What the saying is that right now?
Yeah.
I am.
Paying for the blue tick as well. He doesn't need a blue tick. He's going to get a gold one because he's massive for every game.
Oh, here's Ned.
Oh Jesus! It's either going to be lower because he's since the start of this year, or it's going to be higher because he's been doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be either lower or higher.
It's like when you predict a result, it's either a win, draw, or a loss.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if he's
Or a
had a
band-aid.
previous Twitter handle.
Do you think
like
Fyfie,
Craig.
do you think it could be the same?
I'll throw it out there now. There are no the sames.
Right, okay, so I'm going to bank on the fact that he's had this account longer than a year. So
Okay.
I'm going to go massive. I'm going to say 8,000.
8,000. So points for everyone except Nick for going higher. And the correct answer is Mark has done 6,200, which means bonus point for Woody.
Well done, Woody.
Oh, wow.
So from Mark, we're then going to our friends over at the lower league look, Ned.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
So they've not been around too long, but fuck me, can they tweet? So the question is, have they done more or less than the 6,200 of Mark?
They do that a week, didn't they?
Wait until we get to Ben's. Be a day.
I'm actually worried about mine. I think I'm going to be highly embarrassed about
Yeah,
mine.
I
I've been on it since 2008. There's a clue.
Oh, God. I think it's crazily going to be higher. I think it's going to be 7,000.
7,000. Ben?
6,500.
6,500. Was it?
Oh, I'm going to go higher. I think that higher, and I'm going to go 9.5.
9.5. Wow. Massive. Nick?
I'll go 11,000.
11,000 for Nick. Craig?
I'm going to go lower, 5,500.
5,500.
Liam talks shit all the time. He's going to be loads.
I'm gonna go. I am still gonna go lower. 3,000.
3,000.
Very split.
Joe?
4,200.
4,200. Well, I can tell you that the four of you that went higher were correct to do so. There wasn't a great deal in it. Mark was 6,200. Lower league look in what? Just over a year? 6,600.
Wow.
Wow.
Well done, boys.
They need to get a proper job.
So, next, and I hope she's still around.
Did I get the points though?
Yeah, sorry, Ben. Yeah, you got the bonus point.
Could I just say, Fyfie, well done to John for going to that effort. That's bloody.
Especially after already doing it in November.
Yeah.
I think it was the one where I went to the cinema and you ended up doing the Twitter one.
The Twitter space, yeah.
And I said, we'll save it for the next one.
No, fair play, John. That was a really good effort to do that.
So he actually went back and redid it for me. Bless him. Right, so lower league look then, Joe. We're on 6,600. What about Danny?
got to be lower.
She likes a tweet.
He does like a tweet, but
again, it all depends on how long she's been on for, doesn't it?
yeah, 6,000's a lot. But yeah, like you say, fuck it, let's go higher, 8,000.
8,000 says Joe. What about you, Woody?
7,900. Them to Nick.
What was what was the last one?
6,000.
Direct messages.
Hang on a minute. Just checking.
So 6,600 was the last one.
I reckon she didn't know Twitter existed until at Oakus Road popped up. So I'm gonna go lower 1,200.
1,200. Craig?
I'm going to go lower 5,500, and about 5,000 of them is where she's texted the fools rush in, and 99% of that would have been for Nick.
That we appreciate, by the way.
Yeah, we very much appreciate. Mike saying, Mike, here's hoping I'm not mentioned. How do I check? Where are we? Nick, how many do you reckon Danny's on?
What we're talking 6,600, was it?
6,600.
Well, I've got 4,800 of them. I'll go 5,900.
5,900. Lovely. Was her?
And that's just my DMs.
For fuck's sake.
Sorry.
What's has gone?
I've gone here.
He doesn't even like Twitter.
It was 6. Yeah, I don't even like Twitter. I'm going to go lower and 5,000.
5,000. Thank you, Wazza. Ben?
3,500 lower.
Sorry, was that 3,500?
3,500.
Lovely. Thank you, Ned.
I'm going to say, lower 5,800.
5,800. Well, I can confirm that Joe is the only one to have gone higher, and he got the point and the bonus point for doing so. Danny is on 14,900 tweets.
Johnny!
Bloody hell, she must have known Nick before Fools.
So we go from Danny to the man from Pixar's Up, Kieran. How many tweets do we think Kieran has done, Ned?
Ned? Get out.
Oh,
Get out.
Sorry, the dog.
That's right. So
that's no way to speak about your missus, mate.
Fucking late night fools. So yeah, we've gone on to Kieran from Danny.
Oh, Kieran. Lower 11,000. He's on it quite a lot, isn't he?
Okay, Ben. Gav's here.
Not yet.
Go on, Ben.
I think 12,000.
12,000. Lovely, thank you. Was it?
Well, from that Gibraltar weekend alone, there would have been a few tweets. What was Danny?
Danny was 14,900.
I'm going higher.
Oh.
I'm going 16.
16,000. Okay, thank you. Nick?
I'll go higher, 15,800.
15,800.
Thank
you very much. Craig?
Now, I was going to go higher because Kieran's a bit of a social media whore. But when Wazza said higher, you went, "Ooh." So I'm going to go lower.
Okay.
I reckon it's about 12,000.
12. We've had 12,000.
You went
all right,
because I was bang on right.
Sorry, Wazza spoke over you then, mate. 12,000.
12,100.
100, lovely, thank you. Woody?
I'll go lower because he's only been allowed an account for about 3 years, isn't he? So I'll go lower. What was the last one?
14,900.
I'll go 13,000.
Okay, thank you. And Joe?
The difficulty here is I can imagine he's been banned once or twice. So how long has he had his current account for? So I'm going to go less. 9,000.
9,000. Thank you very much. So the Nick and Wazza went higher than 14,900, and they were correct to do so. And Wazza got closest, so he gets the bonus point. Kieran has done a remarkable 27,800 tweets.
Wow. Fucking hell, Wazza. What a fucking win.
So, Joe, we go from Kieran to Fyfie. How many have I done from my personal Twitter account?
Personal account.
Is it more or less than 27,800?
I mean, you do put quite a bit of stuff out.
Not these days, I don't do all through fools.
I don't know. It's difficult because obviously not knowing you that long. So how long have you been on Twitter? I'm going to be controversial here and go higher.
Okay.
I reckon maybe 29K.
29,000 tweets. Thank you very much. Woody?
You're on mute.
Woody.
That's because it was the wrong answer. I'll just ballpark 20,000. I don't know if that's higher or lower. 20,000.
20,000. Thank you. Craig?
See, I don't recall you being that active on Twitter before Fools Rush In. And most of the time...
Just to remind people that before Fools, I did write a blog.
That's how I've gone. That's what I thought.
I don't recall you. Your name didn't crop up that much on Facebook.
Doesn't crop up that much now.
Twitter. You know, and recently, obviously, like you said, it's been more the Fools account. So it's definitely lower, I reckon.
Now we know why Craig didn't win the quiz.
Yeah. He's giving you a thorough going over there, Fyfie. He's really dug it in.
I'm going to go 18,000.
18,000. Thank you, Craig. I know you're not really making out that I'm a failure for wanting to be in media, but my name can't get out there. I know it all comes from a place of love. Nick?
15.
15. Fucking hell, even less. Wazza?
He's just checking.
I can't log in. Lower, 17 and a half.
17 and a half. Thank you, Ben.
31,000.
Oh, gone higher.
Oh, Ben's
nice. Ned?
I think it's going to be massive.
Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you very much.
You're
First time you said that.
Right, so I'm going to go for 5 inches. No.
You said massive, Ned.
I'm sorry to disappoint, but if that class is as massive, then no, I'm significantly lacking.
I reckon you're over 50k, mate.
Over 50. Are you going to put an actual number on that, though?
50,100.
50,100. Thank you very much. According to John's research from the Fyfie 07 account, it is 22,300, which means that Woody, Craig, and Nick get points for going lower, and Woody again gets the bonus point for being closest. So that figure again, 22,300 for from Fyfie07. So from me, we go to a dear friend of the show, Claire. We all pretty much met Claire via social media, but is she a massive tweeter to the nearest 100? Ned, higher or lower than my pitiful 22,300?
I've got to be honest, I'm disappointed with that figure, Fyfie.
I'm disappointed with my figure too.
I think it's going to be lower. I think it's going to be. We'll go with 9,000.
9,000 for Claire. Thank you, Ben.
I think we're going to go 7,500.
7,500, even lower again. Thank you, Wazza.
Lower. 6.5.
6.5. Thank you. Nick.
I'll do 8,300.
8,300. Thank you. Craig.
Lower, 10,000.
10,000. Thank you very much. Woody.
Lower, 3,000.
3,000. Thank you. And Joe.
Just because everyone's gone lower, I'm going to go higher. I already won the quiz, so it don't matter. What was yours, Fyfie?
22,300.
Let's go 22,800.
22,800. Well, Joe went brave and went bigger. That was wrong. Everyone else got points for going lower. And just checking here, Woody again gets the bonus point. He guessed 3,000, and Claire's figure is 4,000.
Wow.
Few more entries still to go. I'll just tot up the points for you. So Joe is on.
Nice.
Joe's on 6. Woody's on 11. Craig is on 4. Nick is on 5. Woz is on 7. Ben's on 5. And Ned's on 5.
Good effort, Wazza. Well done. Considering you're not on it, mate.
Luck of the draw.
So the number is 4,000. John's number himself, is it higher or lower than 4,000? Who would it be to go first, Joe?
Higher. 10,000.
10,000. Thank you, Woody.
Higher, 60,000.
60,000.
Wow.
Craig?
Yeah, I'm going to go. It's definitely higher. He's quite active, and I'm pretty sure he's been on there a long time. So I'm going to go 50,000.
50,000. Okay, thank you, Nick.
I'll split the difference, 55.
55 for Nick. Wazza?
Higher, 65.
65 for Wazza. Ben?
Who's this for?
John.
You.
John, 50,000.
We've had a 50.
51.
51,000. Thank you, Ben. And Ned?
I'll go higher, but 40,000.
40,000. So everyone gets points for going higher. And Joe gets the bonus point for not going excessive because John is on 16,500.
Wow.
So there you go. From John's 16.5, and it's the man himself to start, Ned.
Me?
Yes.
Well, how many tweets have I done?
To the nearest 100.
Oh, lower, 100%.
Okay.
2,500.
2,500. Lovely, thank you. Ben?
7,000.
7,000 tweets from Ned, and each one a gem. Wazza?
I'm going to go with Ned. Lower, 2.6.
2.6 for Wazza, thank you. Nick?
Shit out.
3.3.
3.3 for Nick, thank you. Craig?
How many was the last one?
16,500.
I'm going to go lower, but I don't think it's as low as Ned said, because I reckon there's been quite a few retweets and replies to tweets. So I'm going to go 10,000.
10,000 tweets from Ned. Would it?
Which obviously isn't the case, because of the way you just fucking responded there.
You keep saying this, but it doesn't. I'm not responding in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, all right. You tell yourself that, mate.
Similar
double bluffing. Double bluffing you, Craig.
Similar theory to Craig. I'm going on the replies because I see Ned reply quite a lot. So I want to go with 11,000.
11,000 for Woody. Thank you. And Joe?
9,200.
9,200. So everyone gets points for going lower. And Ned, you actually won your own round because you are on 1,700.
Wow.
That's poor.
Really that low?
1,700.
Yeah, I mean, I opened an account
Ben is appalled with you.
years ago, but I rarely used it up until like this year.
So we saw the man appear in the chat a short while ago. We go from Ned to Gav, Joe. Has Gav got more or less than Ned's 1,700?
I think more.
Okay.
3,500.
3,500. Thank you, Woody.
3,600.
3,600. Thank you. Where are we going next? Craig?
Who's Gav?
He was on our pod on Boxing Day.
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Sorry.
Unbelievable.
That is ridiculous, Craig.
And he was at Bradford. And he was at Bradford.
Yeah, he was at Bradford.
Yeah, you met him.
You were stood next to him in the photo. Fucking hell, Craig.
How much time have you had?
No.
I do hope he's still watching as well.
Oh, Gav. You
Sorry,
only commented
Gav.
about 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, Gav. When people
Sorry,
get
Gav.
famous, you know what they're like.
Yeah, I was just doing what Ben did to you, mate, you know, all those years ago. So, you know, it's like they don't exist. Sorry, Gav. I just fucking I barely remember my own kids' names, let alone anyone else's. So, you know. What's been mentioned so far? 3,000?
3,500 and 3,600.
All right, I'll go 3,400 then.
3,400, thank you. Nick?
18,000.
18,000, thank you. Wazza?
Higher and 7.5.
7.5, thank you. Ben?
6.5.
6.5, thank you. And Ned?
Has 4,000 gone yet?
4,000 has not gone yet, no?
All right, I'll take 4,000 then, please.
You'll take 4. So nobody gets the point because it's actually lower. So by default, Joe gets the bonus points just by having the lowest wrong answer. Gav is on exactly 1,000.
Wow.
There you go. From Gav, we go to Friday Night Joe.
Friday Night Joe.
Now, in the interest of balance, it's worth noting that Friday Night Joe, for whatever reason, did have to change his Twitter account not that long ago, so it's not going to be... No, it is Gav. Gav is still here.
I'm so sorry, Gav. What it's worth, I watch every single episode normally after they've been posted for editing and shit like that. But that's the only one I haven't fucking watched.
By the way, lads. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday
to you. Happy birthday, dear Fyfie. Happy birthday to you.
Hooray! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I very much appreciate it. Thanks for staying up to seeing my birthday with me.
So he's dragged it
On
out.
what is
He's
on
dragged
what's
it out.
officially
We can all piss off now.
the longest ever episode. This is officially the longest ever episode of Fools Rush In.
And Gav, go on, Gav.
I was going to say there was no way that Gav's going to know that I didn't remember who he was
Would he?
because there's no way he's going to be here 3 hours in. But fucking fair play, mate. He'll be here 3 hours on listening to us talk shit. That's. I'm
Right,
definitely I'm definitely not
let's-
going to forget his name now.
Let's see if we can burst through a round or two, because there's only a couple of names left. So, Ned, I believe it's you to go first. Has Friday Night Joe done more or less than 1,000 tweets?
Do you know what? I think it might be lower. I'm
Okay.
going to say 900.
900. Thank you. Ben?
750.
To the nearest 100.
700.
That's twice you've been told to the nearest 100.
What's up?
No, I reckon Joe's a bit higher.
Okay.
Higher, 2.5.
2.5, thank you. Nick?
1,200.
1,200, thank you. Craig?
1,300.
1,300, Woody?
400.
400. And for shits and giggles, Joe?
Well, if this had been my old account, which for some reason got suspended, it would be way higher.
Okay.
But I think I reckon I'm definitely less than 1,000.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
500.
500. So I can tell Joe, Woody, Ben, and Ned were correct to go lower and get a point. Remarkably, one of you have got it bang on. 400 is the correct answer, Woody.
400. Oh, well done.
There you go.
Right,
There's 5 remaining entries.
Oh,
You'll be pleased to
Christ.
know.
Just to let you know, my laptop is going to die in just a moment. So try and speed through, guys.
Speed through. Right, you ready, Joe? You're
Yeah.
going from your 400
Higher.
to Luke's.
Higher.
Okay.
I don't know. 10K.
I reckon Luke is on about 10K. Thank you, Woody.
Higher, 9K.
9K. Craig.
Higher, 8,900.
8,900. Nick.
15K.
15K for Luke. Thank you. Was it?
8.5.
8.5. Thank you, Ben.
17.
17,000. And Ned.
I reckon a lot higher, 26.
Go. Fucking cats.
Giving you a birthday hug.
Yeah. Oh.
26 was that, Ned? Sorry.
Yep.
So you were all correct to go higher, so points all round there. Luke's figure is 7,400, which by my reckoning gives Wazza the bonus point.
Well done, Walter.
So 7,400. We go over from Luke to Mr. Mike Dixon.
Mike Dixon, he's been
Include
tweeting.
messages on here.
Ned.
Oh, Jesus. So what was it?
So
7,000?
7,400.
Probably higher. Let's go 12,000.
12,000, Ben.
16,300.
16,300. Thank you, Wazza.
15,000.
15,000. Thank you, Nick.
17.5.
17,500, says Nick. Thank you, Craig.
This is like when I'm betting on fucking horses. I'm just shooting in the dark here, and 18,000.
18,000 for Craig. Thank you, Woody.
Mike has been on it for years.
Yeah.
So I'm going high. I'm going 40,000.
You're going 40. Mike's gone 140.
Wow.
Joe?
I've just had a message from one of our viewers to say our pod's gone too long. They've gone to bed.
That's fine. They can catch up on the rest.
3 hours, 5 minutes.
47,500.
47,500. So you were all pretty confident it was higher, and you were correct. Higher was the way to go. Mr. Mike Dixon's number, one of you were very, very close. Mike is racking up an incredible 47,000 tweets.
Woo.
There you go. So from Mike...
Who won it?
Joe did, sorry.
Joe, okay.
So we've got 2 left. These are interesting ones. So from Mike Dixon's 47,000, we go over to Swindon Town Football Club. Has Mike done more or less than Swindon Town Football Club?
Oh my God.
Joe, you're first to go.
They tweet all those stupid adverts every day, don't they? So Swindon's going to be higher, I think. I'm going big, 110k.
110k. Okay, thank you. Woody?
I was going to benchmark the 100, so I'm going to go 100.
100k for Swindon. Thank you. Craig?
Yeah, I'm going to go higher, but I don't think it's by that much because during the Lee Power years, the social media presence was fucking non-existent, wasn't it? So I'm going to go 60,000 higher.
60,000.
Yeah, but Craig, they've given 55 million crates of Thatchers away. So
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
95.
95,000 for Nick. Thank you. Was it?
Higher, 125.
125,000 for Wazza. Ben?
170,000.
170,000. Thank you. Ned?
200k.
200,000 tweets.
Ned's gone big.
So everyone gets
All
points
in.
for going higher. Swindon Town have tweeted more than Mike Dixon. It's official. Their number, however, isn't as impressive as you might think. It is 56,500.
Well done, Craig.
You think they
Fucking
tweet every
terrible.
time someone scores? Oh, I suppose we don't
Yeah,
score
but
any
they
fucking
don't
goals,
bother
do we?
tweeting when there's a new signing or a manager leaving. So
They hardly ever respond to tweets or do retweets and shit like
So-
well, not maybe until recently.
Here's the one you've all been waiting for as the grand finale.
Big time, Ben.
Ben Nichols at Pieman. Has he tweeted more or less than Swindon Town Football Club? The number to beat is 56,500. And we start with Ned.
Yes, definitely higher.
Okay.
I'm going to say that he's cleared 100k. I'm going to say 100. Yeah, 101k.
101,000 tweets for Ben. No, we'll say Ben till last. Was it?
Yeah, I was going to go high. 95.
95,000 tweets. Thank you. We go to Nick next.
That's just what I was going to use again. Thanks, Was. I will go
mate.
105.
105,000 tweets. Ben, when would you have time to do 105,000 tweets? Craig.
when he's at work.
When he's working.
If you add in Jack,
How many did Mike Dixon tweet?
His was 47,000.
Okay. Yeah, definitely higher then. I'm going to go 120,000.
120,000 tweets, says Craig. Woody?
1 million tweets. Do you want my serious answer?
Yes, please.
2 million.
I'm going to go 70,000.
70,000 tweets. Thank you. And Joe?
68,000.
68,000 tweets. Wow. Ben, all your pod mates here seem to think you tweet an excessive amount. Do you think that's correct and fair, or do you think
I
it's...
do have a social media issue. I've been on since 2008, which is a long time. I would say, oh God, it's going to be embarrassing, isn't it? I'm going to go for 68,000.
That's what Joe just said.
69,000.
69,000 says Ben.
Hey. You've done that since the start of the season, Ben.
That was just his hashtag Lindsay out.
Lindsay out.
Please don't.
So you were.
The number is. She'll make me go to meetings.
You were all correct. You were all correct to go higher. Ben has tweeted more than Swindon Town Football Club.
Oh wow!
And I can tell you that the bonus point
is massive.
The bonus point was going to go to one person, nearly went someone else before a different prediction came in. Ben's official number is 68,200. So Joe takes it because Ben ended up going too high from his original guess.
Oh.
So Ben's number 68,200 tweets, everybody.
Since 2008.
That's an incredible amount of work. So
you only sent 10 tweets in the first 10 years of that.
Yeah. That's only 4,000 tweets a year.
Just totaling up the points here very quickly. While I do that, I just want to thank you all again for the birthday messages. It's very nice of you. Thank you for staying on for what has been a bumper episode of Fools Rush In to see it in as well.
While you're doing that, Fyfie, can I just say on behalf of, I'm sure, all the panel, to thank you for everything that you've done since setting all this up on your birthday and everything.
Absolutely.
I don't think any of us could even begin to imagine that it's become what it has become. And I know you like to play it down and you're very modest and everything, but we wouldn't be here today doing all this if it wasn't for you. You're the glue that holds everything together, and and that's down to you, mate. So thank you, and I hope you have a fucking cracking birthday.
Thank you.
Weekend. Especially as Swindon aren't playing, so they're not going to ruin it.
No, yeah. What
Good
you'll all
plan.
remember is... Thank you very much. This time last year, we all... Oh, hi, Ned. You didn't want to know that. This time last year, we all celebrated my birthday by watching Man City at the county ground, you'll remember. So there we go. How times have changed. The scores are in reverse order. Craig got a massive 10 points.
Oh, can I take back what I just said then?
In front of Craig on 11 points was Nick. It was a very tight game because Ben was on 12. Ned was on 13. Was a 14.
Wow.
And then the top two are the top two on my screen.
Oh.
Joe got 17 points.
Well done, Joe.
Woody, 18. 19 points for Woody.
Yeah, Woody wins.
So Woody wins the social media monster higher or lower game. Again, echoing what Craig said, massive respect to John for getting those numbers for us. Thank you, guys.
And a massive respect to apparently the 8 people that are still watching.
Yeah, I mean, those people that are still watching, thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
They're not watching, they've actually fallen asleep in bed with their phones on.
But listen, we've got the weekend off. Good luck to Swindon Town women this weekend, though. It was great to have them on in the first part of the show. Thank you to anyone who has... Well. That was technically yesterday now, yeah. Thank you to everyone who's watched this. Thank you to everyone who will watch it back, who will listen to it back. I'm off to get some sleep before I celebrate my birthday. Thank you to the panelists, likes of Woody, Joe, you've been on all night, and the likes of Ben, Craig, Ned, Nick, who joined after. Thank you very much. It has been a long one. So all that's left to say is a very, very good night.
Take my hand, take my whole